all of his theme, like his entire theme is really cool. I'm very glad with what they've done so far. Okay. So hello boys, my name's WiredGuitars. This will probably be the first video that you ever see by me because it's going to be super clickbaity because it's going to be Dota 2 6.86 patch notes. So welcome. I stream on Twitch and I also play. Well, I used to play a lot of Earth Spirit. I'll show you my Dota buff, but I probably won't be playing too much more Earth Spirit. Granted, these new patches, but if Dota buff would low, I could show it for you. Here, I'll just show you this. Here's my MMR. Here's my Earth Spirit games. I used to play a lot of them, but not about that. We're trying to talk about patch notes. So yeah, here we go. I've got my friends here. I've got Happy Bunny Time and my friend Arlink. They'll be chiming in for us. I hope you're cool with that. And yeah, we're just gonna go. So first things first, there's the Arc Warden edition. We're not really going to talk too much about this because this is more of a patch preview slash review as opposed to a hero analysis. So we'll get into Arc Warden later. But there he is. He's super cool, super thematic. I can't wait. And then the Zeus Arcana, we're not talking about microtransactions, so we're not too hyped for that, especially since we don't play Zeus. And then, you know, TI stuff.
We could always say that we DBZ now.
We DBZ now? Wait, why? Because he's flying on.
Dude, that's like a straight fucking
on the cloud.
The flying Nimbus. And he looks like, oh, dude, look at his, okay. Alright, if you like Dragon Ball Z, buy this, okay? And then there's the, like I said, the TI promises finally coming in, only 6 months late. Thank you very much, Valve. We got new in this client, we got all that hero stats crap. Maybe there's no more need for Dota buff. I'm just kidding, there's probably a need for Dota buff and YASP. Private chat channels, pretty hyped for that. And then here we go, 6.86, map changes. By nature's will and battle scar the land, Wait. Explore new paths of opportunity and escape on both the Radiant and Dire sides. Mastery of these paths. So there's new paths, and as I'm looking at it, it looks like this is kind of what you were talking about, Arlink, where somebody else was also mentioning that there was going to be like a difficulty for Radiant mids to stack the medium camp that's directly below them. It looks like, I think they added that. They may have. It sounds like this. More than likely, yeah. We can't really check out the map, so we're not going to talk too much about this, but rest assured I'll probably make a video about this separately. And then here we go. First thing we're going to talk about, the new arcane rune. So if you don't know what this does, it reduces all of your spell cooldowns and mana costs by something like a 50%, I want to say. Arcane rune. Let me check it. Yeah, here it is. It lasts for 50 seconds, and your cooldowns are reduced by 30%, and your mana costs are reduced by 50%. How do we feel about that, boys?
Really good for spellcasters.
Yeah, I'd say it's really good for like.
I think it's gonna. I mean, it's really good for spellcasters in general, but I think it's gonna mean that we're gonna see maybe more, if not, I guess, right around the same amount of spellcasters mid. But we may see a change up of who's gonna be played mid because of the opportunity to get that rune now.
Yeah, the opportunity to get this rune is.
Think Bottle Invoker will be viable now?
Bottle Invoker, yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I think pretty much any mid that doesn't get bottle is gonna like it's runes like these and it's yeah. That's probably one of the reasons why they nerf bottle is just because the item is becoming so much more appealing as the patches go by and they buff bounty runes and they buff, you know, the amount of runes that are in the game, like in circulation that you could potentially get and then break the game for 50 seconds. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Did they nerf haste rune? No, they didn't nerf haste rune this patch, so that's still a really good thing. Yeah, I was going to say that, like, more importantly, like, really, really early roaming supports that try to go mid and just happen to find this are going to guarantee a kill, I think. Because, Winter Wyvern, not Winter Wyvern, she's a bad example. Like a Lion, you could probably use 2 stuns now over the course of a gank because you're going to have 30% reduced duration, or cooldown on Earth Spike. And I think Earth Spike is like 12 seconds or 17 seconds or something.
Yeah, actually, then, like, the amount of stun duration that he has now on Earth Spike as well as the mana that gets pulled from your target is going to be a big change. That's actually going to affect that. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more Lion now. Yeah.
But before we get into the Lion changes, I was mostly talking about the Arcane Rune. But that's a good point. Yeah, he's getting buffed too.
No, yeah, but you're absolutely right. Like you're going to see supports now the minute they get that rune being able to do something about it. Like you're gonna be able to bring a little bit more helping your mid instead in terms of, oh, I only got a bounty rune, I have one spell and then I'm out.
Yeah, like we better get this kill, otherwise this is a huge waste of time because all I did was stack a camp, get a rune, and I'm trying to help the mid out. I mean, actually that's pretty efficient. Generally speaking, supports would usually do this kind of thing anyways, where they'd stack a camp, they'd get the rune, and then they'd go gank mid anyways. So whether it was successful or not was not based on getting an arcane rune before, obviously, because it wasn't in the game. But I think now it's going to be even more Like, if an Invis rune or a haste rune guarantee to kill, what I'm trying to say is that now if a support gets an arcane rune, I think it will really, really help them get a kill. Also, this is a big one, is that their recovery cost from getting or not getting the kill in terms of their mana, right, isn't necessarily always going to have to be like, I got to go back to base now, you know? Now, since their mana costs get gimped by 50%, they can maybe stay in lane, or they can probably go stack into their camp or something like that, and then, you know, maybe ferry over a Tango if they took the tower, tanked the tower too much, so... I like this rune.
Maybe a buff for Shaker, probably.
Yeah, maybe a buff to heroes. Just heroes in general that expend a lot of mana that really can't afford to in the early game if they're trying to gank unless they want to go back to base after they get a kill. Like, this is going to help those heroes out if they get it. Obviously, I think this makes it a 1 in 13 chance now to get this rune and other runes, right? Because you get a 1 in 2 chance of getting a rune spawning on your side, and now there's 7 runes, right, or something like that in circulation. I don't know the math. There's 7 runes now, I think, and then there's the.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
You're flipping the coin. What?
There is actually, like, in the changes a little bit further down, we'll get to the runes. I think got moved up a little bit too now, so that's actually going to be another big advantage to that.
Runes got moved up. Wait. Before we talk about that, though, yeah, and I know that you said that was further down, but that's going to blow my mind too. We're going to see. I'm sorry. Every single one of us has kind of been spoiled in some way or another because we all looked at these patch notes. Anyways, these. Oh, well, never mind for our.
Yeah, I've already gone through this whole thing, so as much of it. Me and my buddy just like jizzed our pants.
We got the tier list, so it sounds like Happy Bunny Time knows a lot about this patch. I know medium abouts, and Arlink knows very little, so we'll get the 3 differing opinions there. So we got these new items: Fairy Fire, Dragon Lance, Aether Lens, and Iron Talon. We'll read up on their functionality now, but because that's kind of down there in the item section, we're gonna just kind of like. Actually, let's just completely skip over the items for now because we don't want to go over them yet, and reading the description is just gonna, you know, make us all nervous.
It's just kind of confuse you without being able to actually see what they really do.
Yeah, seeing the numbers and stuff like that. So Captain Mode additions, again, we're going to kind of gloss over this just because you need to see why these heroes are getting added, except for Terrorblade. I don't know why the fuck they just put through them in attack Captain's Mode. I still think it needs some changes. But like Oracle and Earth Spirit, they got changes, and that's why they're added in Captain's Mode, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Especially if you watch my stream a lot and you know that I spam the fuck out of Earth Spirit, I'm pretty sad about this, but we'll get into that later. New neutral camp locations. This is going to be a big one, I think, maybe for junglers. The creatures of the forest have expanded on their territory. 2 neutral camps have been added. So the rumors are true. There's 2 new neutral camps now. One near the Radiant Secret Shop, which, what the fuck? And then one near the Dyers, which is also what the fuck. With this added golden experience in the battlefield, the battle for resources takes new shape. So this will benefit. This benefits a lot of things. First and foremost, they look like hard camps. I'm going to assume they're hard camps. Centaurs can spawn in medium camps, but Ursus can only spawn in hard camps. So I'm going to assume those are hard camps. And they're next to the secret shops. So that means that when you're taking Ancients, you can be more efficient and also take another camp and then go into mid or top lane or bottom lane, respectively, depending on your side. It's pretty cool. Like this says, that kind of changes the farm meta. This means that when you're winning the game, right, you can go take their jungle camps and starve them. Not of more EXP and stuff like that, but like you can just get more ahead, so to speak. So I wonder if that's going to I wonder if this change, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I wonder if this is going to benefit or subtract from early to mid game pushes, or if this is going to help the farm meta of like, you know, let's have 60-minute games constantly. Because if you're winning a game, you're going to get to take over their jungle, and now you're going to get this new camp as well. So I wonder what this is going to do to that kind of thing. You know? I don't know.
Not sure, really. I'm not much of a jungler since I'm a support player, but yeah, I think it will help when you're pushing in. You can just go to that jungle pretty easily.
Well, that's what they usually did, right? If you're winning a game, you push a tower and then you go into their jungle and you take their camps and shit like that. Just like that's like the typical MOBA thing to do. If you're winning a game, you get more ahead, and your jungle is really far away from their side of the map. If you're on their side of the map, so you just take their side, you take that team's side of the map, and this just added more gold for you to take because the secret shop is right there. This camp is right next to the secret shop. You go take their ancients. You go take their secret shop. You go say hi to Roshan if you're on the Dire side, or if they're on the Dire side and you're Radiant, you're pushing in. If you're on the Dire side and you're pushing into the Radiant side, then you take their ancients. You take you take their ancients. You take this camp. Then you go top lane. You push or something like that. I don't know. Like it'll be interesting to see how this impacts the game. I don't think that everybody should flip out and say stuff like, "Oh my God, this is gonna make fast pushing metas so weak. Now we're gonna have 60-minute games," because you gotta understand that that's not necessarily how the game works. Also, I'm kind of curious. This is probably not the case, but it says it's near the secret shop. I wonder if this means that you can pull the Radiant side into the Radiant off lane and pull the Dire side into the Dire off lane, respectively. I wonder if that's what that means. Probably not.
I'm assuming that's what they're trying to do, so it's pretty much another place where people have to ward, basically.
But that's so deep. It's so deep to ward there, don't you think? The supports are gonna have to ward there.
That's most likely the case. That's the thing. It's gonna be like one of those ways to buff offlaners more than likely.
That is a good point. Is because there's a lot of offlaners. Like people think there's so many offlaners in circulation. Really, there's like Tusk, right? Earth Spirit's a pretty good one. I'm talking the pub meta here. There's like any hero that can guarantee that the lane can be near their tower is a decent offlaner, and really that's not a whole lot of heroes right now, in my opinion. I don't know about the pro scene, but it's difficult. So if you're right about that, then that'll bring a lot of other heroes into the meta because it'll make it so supports have to ward this. Otherwise, the offlaner can hold the lane as well. It'll just be a constant pole war though. That'll be kind of stupid. So we'll see how that changes. We got hero updates. We'll skip over that until we get to them.
I'm not surprised.
Yep.
I knew that would happen.
Yeah, a lot of these heroes did need updates in some way, I think. So we're getting to, already went over the arcane rune. Creep bounty increases by 1 per normal gold cycle. It's basically every 7 minutes for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Creeps are going to be worth more gold. I think that's a fairly obvious change. It's just going to make, I think, farming heroes, late game heroes, a little bit better. Well, it's going to make everybody better in some way, but people that can use this gold effectively are going to become better over time. Right? Any objections to that, I guess?
Alchemist?
Alchemist?
I'm okay with that.
I wonder if that... Yeah, I guess that kind of helps Alchemist. I'm sure he's going to get hurt in some other way.
It's more of a joke in that sense, but I get what you're saying. Like, it's definitely going to help overall in the grand scheme of things of heroes that really focus on getting that farm. Like, you're going to be getting that little bit of extra gold as the game goes on.
Yeah.
It also supports farming for supports.
And Kappa. I'm just trying to say that, like, it starts at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. That means... if you can at least make it to the 15-minute mark, which pretty much any team could do, even TI3, right? They were still ending the game around 20 minutes, so they weren't ending the game super, super quickly, right? So if you can just make it to the 15-minute mark, you'll get 2 gold extra for every single kill in this patch on creeps, right? And 2 gold adds up. Like, you take an entire wave, that's 10 extra gold right there, just from this patch alone. And 10, whatever. I don't know. I think that adds up, in my opinion. Whatever. We'll go on. Siege damage against heroes increased a little bit. Siege is mostly, I think it's, yeah, towers and siege units do approximately 13% more damage to heroes. Siege units, if you don't know, that's like the big catapult guy. And then towers. So this mostly affects towers, I think. Although this will, you know, I guess this will help.
Tower diving.
Yeah, it'll mostly this helps you stay under your towers and not feel as dangerous. A lot of people have been complaining for a long time that like Dota towers get to a point where they just don't even do anything. This'll really turtle-based strategies are going to get buffed a little bit in this regard. Like if you go and take Roshan, it's not like you're going to instantly be able to tower dive into their fountain now. I don't know. This will help just a little bit. And then hero base
It's mostly just that tower diving isn't as basic anymore.
I wonder about that though because hero base HP has also been increased. So that means every hero across the board has gained 30 health. So they're going to make siege damage against heroes increased, but like everybody's getting a little bit tankier. So this is overall, overall, I think this is still trying to discourage people from tower diving, right? Like because you're gonna take usually 2 or 3 tower shots, which is gonna add up to more than just 30 damage. But yeah, everybody gets a little bit of extra HP, I suppose. And they didn't play around with too many strength numbers, if I recall correctly. So this is just a straight up like flat across the board 30 HP buff to everyone. Creeps now arrive slightly closer to the top dire tower and bottom radiant tower. I guess you got to get a better block if you're the offlaner. That's really all that because they're going to arrive closer to the, to the top dire tower. Yeah, so get a better block if you're...
Basically, it just turned around again, because last time they tried making it so that it's always closer to the offlaner, but now they just turned it...
Yeah. Basically, I really hope that you can pull that offlane camp, like Arlink is saying, because if you can't pull that offlane camp, then they're just making it harder, I think. Except for the tower buff. The tower buff is nice because then 2 supports and then their carry can't dive you. Random draft hero pool. I heard that it's gonna jump into Okay, so I did watch a Purge video one time talking about how random draft is the best way to gain MMR or win games. I guess if you're the better player. If you are the better player, then you will probably win more games playing random draft than you will all pick. And I'm actually pretty excited to see this change. I doubt anybody will play this though, because I don't know if a whole lot of people play random draft. But if this does get big, I guess if random draft is a thing, then maybe I'll switch over to random draft. We'll see though. I don't feel too confident. I mean, I'm an Earth Spirit spammer, guys. We'll check my versatility real quick. I have fucking 0.04, so it's probably.
In terms of all random draft being played, that's actually like recently is because of. I don't want to call it the state of the game, but because of the way things have been going, like me and my friends are pretty much like non-ranked, just resorted to either doing single draft or random draft. And I mean, the fact that you've got that bigger pool opened up now, instead of just being limited to 24 heroes, I think is going to make more people enjoy it, because one of the biggest parts about it was when you only have 24 heroes to choose from, I mean, it really limits your playstyle.
Yeah. You can't really build a team around, I mean, 2 teams have to pick from 24 heroes, right? Not just 1 team?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, you all get... So it's every 2 teams picking from 24.
Yeah, that, I mean, basically there's 10 heroes out of 24. Like, you have... I mean, that's like 50% of the hero pool is going to be picked, right? And so there's no guarantee if there's like 3 supports in that lineup, right? There's no guarantee that, I mean, already right there, that's a team that's going to be camped. I don't know if that's the way it used to be in random draft, is that like you just roll the dice and you'd roll unlucky, and say they get to pick all the supports first, like you just are left with no supports, or running something like jug support or something like that. But 50 heroes seems pretty fair. I'm just nervous though, because one of the big big good sides to random draft is that it limits the amount of potentially OP heroes in quote marks that are going to be in circulation. That's one of the reasons why people like random draft, I think, is because everybody's playing with heroes that are probably, hopefully, not overpowered. Or I guess there's that chance that you're not going to get an overpowered hero. Like, there's that chance that Tusk isn't going to show up, right?
At the same time, this also makes it so that more people are going to be willing to play in general, because everyone only wants to play Dota 2 typically just to pick the hero they like, so it's always all pick. But since they're increasing the number, that means more people will have a willingness to play it, because there's a bigger chance rather, for the hero to be in there.
Yeah, like what Happy Bunny Time said, I can probably agree to that. Overall, this is probably good, and I like that they're adding it to ranked matchmaking, so it's going to diversify the ways that we can gain MMR. Centaur Cursor now has a stacking. No, the Courser. Sorry, Courser was, if I recall correctly, that was the smaller one. Centaur Courser.
Anyways, sorry to cut you guys out, but I gotta go ahead and run up to the store, so I shall be back a little bit later, more than likely, when this is done.
That's totally fine. Man. Absolutely. Peace out, man. All right, that was Happy Bunny Time. So it's just me and Arlink. What's up, Arlink?
I am really cold, but that's it.
That's totally fine. We'll talk about these. Centaur Courser. Dota 2. If I recall correctly, the Centaur Courser was the non-blue Centaur. I can't click on it because herp derp. I don't know if this is my internet or if Dota 2 Wiki is like bugging out because it's got to make all these changes. Yeah, Centaur Courser was the small. What's up?
Everyone's probably hammering the shit out of the website just to see what exactly is being changed.
That's a good point. So the Centaur Courser was the smaller guy, and he's got a stacking magic resistance aura. The Hellbear instead of the Hellbear Smasher. So yeah, I think they're changing all the smaller guys. The Hellbear now has a stacking magic resistance aura as well. Dragonhide aura's stackable armor increased. Okay, so ancient stacking is going to be even harder. Ancient Dragon's armor reduced by 1. Ancient neutrals now behave like normal neutrals and split experience with all heroes in the AoE. Okay, so that means that... Okay, that's really cool. Supports can now leech.
By the way, that's a support. That's a nerf to Shadowfang.
How so?
Because they have stacking magic resistance aura. Was that what it said?
Yes. Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That means that when Shadow Fiend tries to take this camp out with his raise... Nice! Hey, good. This is why we keep you around, our link. That's a really good point. To say it's a nerf is kind of interesting because it'll probably just take 1 or 2 extra raises at most. But if he gets unlucky...
It's basically a nerf to anyone that farms camps easily, like Firefly and a bunch of other abilities that could farm it so fast.
Yes, especially because it's 20% for units. So, wait. Do neutrals share auras? They probably do, right?
It's saying it's stacked, so they're most likely going to be sharing it.
I thought it meant stack with allies. I don't know. Neutrals are allies with each other. So yeah, you're right. So yeah, 20% stacking. That's a holy shit. Actually, if you get unlucky at Shadow Fiend and stack a hard camp 3 times and get Centaur, Hellbear, that's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be multiplicative. So it won't be 60%, but it'll be something like 50% magic resistance. Holy crap. Really good.
If that's really what they're doing, that's pretty retarded. Ridiculous, rather.
Ridiculous. I like it though, because fuck Shadow Fiend.
I do like it.
I like it just because it's putting more emphasis on being in the mid lane, getting runes, and going to the side lanes, as opposed to just herp derp. I want to farm the jungle and get out of control, right? And also, I don't know, I like it that, like, not just heroes that have ways of clearing, like, in an indirect way, right? This puts more emphasis on heroes like Ember Spirit, or just heroes that can clear camps with AoE physical damage spells, as opposed to magic damage spells, kind of, in a small way. Don't read too much into that. Mostly, yeah, like Arlink said, like, this will hurt Meepo in some ways. Just heroes that like to stack camps. Actually, this doesn't really change Alchemist too much now that I think about it, right?
No.
No, because Acid Spray. Although it does hurt Radiance. So, yeah. I guess mostly this is going to be a hurt to those heroes that don't use Radiance, right? This is like, it's mostly Shadow Fiend. It's like, Shadow Fiend, you want to go stack a camp 3 times. Well, if you get unlucky and you get Centaur Coursers or Hellbears in that camp, then you're going to have a harder time taking that camp. Maybe it'll be the difference between 3 raises and 6, but 6 raises is double the amount of raises. That's double the mana. That's double the time. I like this change. Added a new ability to the Ancient Black Dragon Fireball. Let's see this. This is going to be a huge buff to Sven, maybe, or not Sven, Chen. Targets an area and hurls a fireball towards it, igniting the 300 AoE area for 10 seconds, dealing 85 damage per second. Is it good?
It could help Chen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's 850 magic damage. That could be really good. I don't know. We're gonna have to see like the cast point. If it takes it like years to line it up and the travel time on the animation is really small, then it's gonna be terrible. Like if anybody could dodge it, then so we'll see how that ability works out. It looks kind of cool. Ancient Thunderhide's Frenzy is now unit targetable, so that means you can point and click a unit and just buff them. Did it used to be AoE? Maybe it used to be AoE. Oh yeah, it used to be only for it. It used to only be for itself. Now you can target other people, so that's really nice.
That's good.
Yep, the Hill Troll and Priest's mana aura is increased. I like that. The easy camp isn't used enough. I've seen like Satyr Banisher's Purge. This is not just the easy camp. This is actually the medium camp, and also kind of the hard camp. Purge cooldown reduced 3 seconds. That's kind of cool. Satyr Torment's Unholy HP. This is really nice. From 4 to 6, that's really nice. That means Doom is going to have a way easier time in the offlane. Although I think he's getting nerfed. The Shockwave distance increased. That's really nice. The Shockwave speed reduced a little bit. The damage increase, I really like to see that as well. Dark Troll and the damage got increased by 35, so that's really nice. Dark Troll Summoners and Hill Troll's attack range got reduced a little bit. And that's good, you say?
Because it used to be annoying to stack them.
Yeah, annoying to stack them, annoying to kite them if you're playing Terrorblade Jungle Kappa. Just annoying in general to take this camp. I will say this kind of does hurt Chen, but I don't know. Chen didn't really ever use that camp for its attack damage too much. And if he did, well, hey, they got attack damage buffed by 6 damage, so that's kind of nice. You're right. If you're trying to stack them, it used to be annoying because you take damage, but now if you're trying to kill them, you're going to take a little bit more damage, so that's kind of nice. Roshan's base armor increased by 1, so it's going to be a little bit harder to take Roshan. Huh?
Literally no damage.
Literally no damage. Literally no damage. Guys, we can't take Roshan. Last patch they buffed him too hard. Literally no damage. And then they literally doubled his base attack time, but then they gave him 100 attack speed. Basically, what this means is that he's affected less by negative attack speed, according to this. And I think that's true. The higher your base attack time, the less affected you are by negative attack speeds and positive attack speeds. If you have higher base attack time, then you are better affected by... Does this make sense? This doesn't make sense. Basically, Juggernaut has the quickest attack speed in the game. He has the quickest base attack time in the game. I don't think it's going to load because the Dota 2 wiki is crashed right now. I would not be convinced. Yeah, okay. Okay, never mind. Here you go. His base attack time is 1.4, okay? That means that when you slow Juggernaut's attack speed, it sucks for him because it's like super effective, you can think of it as opposed to a normal hero with 1.7. But if you speed up his attack speed by buying items like Yasha or giving him Bloodlust as Ogre Magi, then it's super effective like a Pokemon because he gains a lot more from it than just a normal hero with 1.7 base attack time. So Roshan acts the same way. It's harder to nerf his attack speed now. But alternatively, if you were ever going to buff his attack speed, it's not as effective now as well. Nobody ever did that anyways. What were you saying?
I really like the Pokemon comparison there.
The Pokemon comparison there? I hope it was accurate. Added a patrol command. I've been asking for this for a while. It kind of helps for having illusion heroes. You are now able to bring up the targeting cursor when silenced and instead get the error... Okay, wait. Okay, never mind. These are all separate changes. But this is nice. Patrol command. Use this on your illusion. When you get illusion runes, guys, you should be happy. Don't get like, oh, fucking illusion rune. All this means is I'm going to refill my bottle. No. Illusion runes are good. And they're now even made better with the patrol command. And then also, here we go. You are now able to bring up the targeting cursor when silenced and instead get the error upon targeting rather than clicking the button. Okay, that doesn't... Whatever. Single target with AoE effects now have a new targeting UI. Abilities like Frost Nova, Storm Bolt, etc. Okay, that's cool. We'll see what that looks like. Ranked all pick, initial pre-picking time reduced to 5 seconds. Less time to sit there and talk between your heroes. Towers no longer have a very minor experience bounty. Rip. That's all I can really say to that. Some minor damage. Oh, fuck. Is this going to be math? I'm good with math, but I don't want to do it and extend the video duration artificially. Remove the light. Okay. Okay, this looks like it's good. They're just removing the armor types and making it more obvious. That's nice. I like this. They're removing or making to the soft armor. Same as creeps. Beastmaster's Hawk. These are very small changes. Like this one right here is the only thing they did was change Beastmaster's Hawk, and they misspelled it. Rip valve, rip. Removed the light attack type and moved the following units to the standard attack type, effectively 40 to 50% versus structures. So a small buff to these creeps and heroes or whatever. These creeps versus structures, they gain a small bonus. Center. So Chen, you know, a little bit better at pushing. Spiderlings, a little bit better at pushing. Ancient Granite, Ancient Black Dragon, Forged Spirits, Warlock's Golems. All these things do a little bit more damage to towers now. That's what I'm seeing. Combine the basic and strong armor types, like various other neutral camps. We're not going to read too much into this. All these spelling mistakes. Come on.
Volvo, please.
Volvo, please. Terrain. Added a new neutral camp. We already talked about that. Added a small ramp from the Radiant Secret shop to the ward spot right above it. Moved the Radiant Hard Camp closer to the Dire Elf lane, so now that can be pulled. Swap Medium and Hard Camp in Radiant Jungle. Okay. Added a new pathway from Radiant. I'm going to have to look at all this stuff because I can't visualize it now. Added a ramp connecting the Radiant Jungle to the area near Roshan. Walkable pathway. Created a new juke spot. These are a lot of terrain changes, right? Okay, in your basic games, guys, whenever you're playing video games, it's very hard to talk about terrain changes unless you just see them in action. So you can sit here and read over these. I hope that you gain something from this that I don't, but I need to see these in action. So I'll talk about the map in a different video, guys, but not today. Heroes. Let's move on to heroes. Is that cool with you, Arlen?
I'm good.
Okay. Alchemist. Grievel's Greed bonus on the bounty rune only. Rescaled from 5 times to 3, 4, 5, 6 times. How do you feel about that?
Nerf too early, buff too late.
Yeah, very small buff to late. Pretty small buff to late. But mostly it's a nerf to his early game because mostly the biggest thing that you'd have to the biggest objective you'd have whenever an alchemist joins your team is getting that level 1 rune, right? And it's going to mean that it's less effective on. I mean, this might actually make it viable to give that level 1 rune to your mid over your alchemist sometimes when you really want your mid to win the lane, as opposed to just having the alchemist gain 300 gold, which is essentially a kill. So that's a lot of gold, but still, like it's Bane gets a slight movement speed nerf. I saw him apparently picked up a lot. Towards the end of 6.85, because apparently he would be really good as like a mid babysitter, similar to Wisp, except you wouldn't just be in a tiny strat, you'd just basically be trying to like right click the enemy. So I guess small nerfs to Bane. I think I talked about that in my patch predictions. We'll see if this hurts this hero. He's still, I think he's still like he's still Bane, you know, he still does everything Bane does. They just nerfed him a little bit. Base HP regeneration. This is nice. This is nice. I always like to see Batrider buffs because I can't wait for the day that I can finally play him. Base HP to regeneration, this is huge, right? 0.25 to 2.0, that's insane. And then Flame Break, mana cost reduced, that's really nice. How do you feel about this? I'm sorry, how do you feel about the Bane changes? Do you play any of these heroes? I'm skipping over heroes until I get to the...
I played Bane a little bit. I think he deserved the nerf, honestly.
Yeah, just because I mean, I don't know, I saw him picked a lot.
He does a lot of damage as well as moving pretty fast, and I always thought that was pretty silly.
Yeah, he has a very smooth attack animation. This is just going to make it a little bit harder for him to get into range to throw out that little black ball of death that he always threw out. And then, do you play Batrider at all, or do you care about these changes?
I think it's really good for him, honestly. I don't play him, but I do like watching him on occasion.
Yeah, this will make his offlane a lot easier, because he can take... any offlaner, by the way, guys, in case you're curious, any offlaner like Nyx Assassin that has increased health regeneration is like really... It's a good thing. I'll say that. It's a really good thing, because you're getting beat down by supports, but it's okay, because you got insane health regen. Nyx Assassin has like 3 or some shit like that, but Batrider, I like to see this change a lot, especially since he has below average range. Vision range. His vision range is the lowest. If you are Batrider, you're a sad hero because you can't see shit. You have 1200 day vision and 800 night vision, and there's nothing you get to buff that except for like I guess Moon Shard, which any hero can get, right? So it's nice to see him get something special that other heroes can't. except for just, oh, Firefly, which is still a nice ability because Fly Vision is very powerful. But it's nice to see him have things like this. Beastmaster. Wild Axes no longer has unit targeting. That means that you can only click an area if you're trying to throw his axes out. That's kind of a nerf to the ability. Makes it a little bit more skill-based. And then Call of the Wild, cooldown rescaled to... Yeah, this is pretty much just a buff, like over 2 seconds. It's a buff to the ability. Nice to see this. This ability just became a little bit harder to aim sometimes, depending on what kind of player you are. Bloodright cooldown rescaled to be a little bit more spammable at later ranks, and that's cool. That's a-okay by me. Bloodseeker's kind of, I mean, rip his old days. Rip the 6.84 days, right?
Oh god.
Oh god, I hated that too. Bounty Hunter, small buff to his Janata at later ranks. This is nice to see. A little bit. I don't know. I think the hero's a little bit underrated right now, but it's nice to see stuff like this. Brewmaster Drunk.
That's alright.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not giving you much time to talk about. These are just small. I'm trying to get to the big changes, right? Like this is 6% at max rank. We'll see how that influences.
Yeah, I'm just waiting until something catches my eye.
Yeah, like this right here, maybe. Brewmaster, Drunken Haze, cooldown reduced. The ability duration on this is like 4.5. So Brewmaster could pretty much permanently keep Drunken Haze on somebody right now if he gets at max rank. That's really cool. Like I think the duration is 4.5 seconds and the cooldown is now 5 seconds. So you are permanently slowing someone with this ability. No, it's even longer than that. It's way longer than that. This just means that you can put it on multiple targets. That's right. That's what this means. You could always keep somebody permanently Drunken Haze. Now you can keep 2 or 3, maybe even 3 people. I think Drunken Haze. How long does Drunken Haze last? I think it's 50. I think it's actually crazy. It's some crazy duration. We'll find out in 1 second.
Like 7 seconds, 6.
No, it's way longer than that. Yeah, it's 8 seconds actually. So I was way wrong. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you can basically keep 2 Drunken Haze for the most part.
Yeah, you can almost keep 2 people completely Drunken Hazed at this point. You can Drunken Haze 1 person, and then it's up in 5 seconds, and then you Drunken Haze somebody else, and then that first person that you Drunken Hazed is now still Drunken Hazed for the next 3 seconds. So that's really cool. Primal splits dispel magic damage to summons is increased significantly, so that's very nice. 500 damage is a lot of damage to be doing to summoned units, and then dispel magic cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds, and then. Okay, now this is really weird. They're buffing the Storm Spirit, and if you go back and watch my 6.86 patch predictions, I talked about how the Storm Spirit was the only thing that was really good, and that they needed to buff the Earth Spirit very smallly by buffing Pulverize, and the Flame Spirit needed to have something to just give it. I don't know, a very weird direction that he's still buffing the Storm Spirit as opposed to the other 2 spirits, but whatever. Brew, you can enjoy those changes. Those are pretty nice. I don't assume that you have any opinions on those either, do you? Or...
Oh, wait, which one?
Okay, that answers my question. We're moving on to Bristle. Yeah. Bristle, added Scepter to Bristleback. Nasal Goo is no longer targeted. Instead, it applies goo to all enemies around you and a 600 AoE when casted. What the fuck? So he's becoming more of a fucking porcupine. Now, instead of just throwing spores out, he's throwing shit out too. That's hilarious. Nasal Goo mana cost reduced. And then the Cool Spray max damage increased. Do you have any opinions on this or no comment?
That Aghanim Scepter is something else.
Yeah,
I don't know how to feel about that.
They're getting crazier and crazier with these Aghanim Scepter changes, and I'm really liking to see it. Like I don't know, it adds craziness to the game. Broodmother took a hit. Rip 20 damage. Spiderlings push a little bit harder though, so she can rejoice. She's better at pushing, worse at killing early game. That kind of sucks. I play a lot of Brood in case you didn't know, but you know. Maybe she needed it. She probably needed it. Yeah, she probably deserved that. Centaur Warrunner. Return damage increased again. This time up to 75% at max rank. That's very strong. I don't. Yep. Do you have any? Yeah, no opinions on it. It's just very strong. Good stuff for you.
It's pretty strong later. That's all right.
Chaos Knight, they literally went against everything that I was talking about with buffing the hero's ulti or his mana costs or anything like that, and they're just like, here's more damage. So I don't think this change will significantly impact him, right? It's 60 increased damage, which is really nice at max rank, but when you max Reality Rift and Chaos Bolt, you're like level 8 or 9, right? Depending on whether or not you got your ulti, which you probably didn't. You have no problem bursting down a hero at that rank. You have a problem being able to cast all your fucking abilities, and he didn't address that at all, so... We'll see if that changes him. Maybe that will. Maybe 60 extra damage at max rank is all Chaos Knight needed at to be pro viable. What do I know, right? I'm just some 4.7k scrub. Chen, we'll talk. Do you play Chen? You don't play Chen, do you?
No.
No. Okay. Well, his base, he got whoop-de-doo. He got 60 extra HP at level 1. That's pretty good actually. almost 60 extra HP. Every point of strength is 19 health.
Someone's here, by the way.
Someone's here. Who joined?
Yeah, it's Burba.
Oh, what's up, Burba?
Am I in? Am I in?
We're talking about the patch notes, my friend. I'll link them to you so that you can catch up with this.
No.
Oh, you're already in.
I'm slightly ahead of you.
Oh, sick.
I'm slightly ahead of you.
Nice. Sorry. We go back up, man. We gotta stay with. I'm making a VOD out of this. We got Chen. Okay, his base strength increased by 3. That's really nice. His penitence mana cost got reduced. Finally, I think people are going to start leveling penitence over his nuke, Holy Test of Faith or whatever. I think
it's actually a value point now.
that's also true. That's also actually a good point. That's actually a very good point. But the bonus damage applied to the ability is very nice. I don't know. I saw some guy build Chen mid. Like he went mid with Chen, buffed penitence and Holy Test of Faith, got a Shadow Blade, and he was just nuking everyone. So there's that for you. But yeah, this is pretty much, it's a value point now. Mana cost reduced is really nice, and then yeah, you're definitely gonna get a value point in this ability. And this might, I think Chen is gonna become viable again with changes like these. Like I don't know, we'll see. Especially with the buffs to the small buffs to the jungle camps a little bit. Like the Dark Troll deals a little bit more damage now, although it has less range. But you'll be able to slow somebody now, guaranteed, because you're definitely going to put a point in this ability early in ranks. At least 1 point is definitely necessary, I think, because you can't turn down a 30% slow for 8 seconds. Is that how much it is? Shen, Dota 2. It's like 15% or something like that, but it's still really good. Yeah. Okay. It's a 15% movement speed slow, but it lasts for 8 seconds. Right? That's insane. The cast range is really nice and comfortable. And then 15% bonus damage is nice too. I don't know. We'll move on. Clinks, agility growth increased. I thought this should happen last patch. When they were buffing all the heroes' agility growth, I was like, Mirana, okay, Morphling, okay. Like, where's Clinks? Clinks is such a squishy fuck. He needs something to be insane. And agility growth, by the way.
I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
It's a buff to
I'm pretty happy about
Clinks.
that one.
I'll say that that's the highest agility growth in the game. It used to be Terrorblade held that mantle, but then Mirana, Morphling, and now Clinks are in this category. Just a nice buff to him. That's 0.3. That's like every 3 levels, that's an extra damage point, which might not seem too significant, but it's damage. Damage is damage. And then what I think this is like overall maybe 2 extra armor at the end of the leveling spree when you're like level 21 or 22. This is probably 2 extra armor. That's kind of nice. Probably less, actually. Who am I kidding? This is 1 extra armor probably overall, because 7 armor. My math is herp derp. Alright, Clockwork. Strength growth increased. And then Power Cogs now spawn in a circle rather than a rectangle. They're making him more like his Han counterpart, in case you guys have ever played Han. And if not, then I'm sorry that I mentioned that scornful video game. But
I don't know how to feel about this as a person that used to play Clockwork.
what do you mean? Are you sad or happy?
I just...
All right, I'm sorry. You just said you don't know. What I meant to ask is like, I guess how does this confuse you?
I mean, like, I just don't know how to feel about it. Like, the strength increase is really nice and all, but I don't understand if this actually helps him or if it makes him worse. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, 0.2 strength increase is it's like 4 extra health every level, so that's kind of nice, I guess. Right after 5 levels, that's 20 extra HP. So that's just to give you some points.
Okay, I guess it makes it a bit harder for them to break out the cogs and escape unscathed.
I believe Roshan, cliffing becomes harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about putting Roshan on a cliff, or what are you talking about?
Yep. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. That's whenever I see that, that's very funny. Do you think it does become harder? You don't think it's easier now with a circle? I wonder if it's the same number of cogs. You think it's easier?
Should be easier because you only destroy 1 cog, whereas some people used to destroy the corner cogs of the rectangle instead of the center ones.
Right.
To put him on a cliff?
No, I mean just to get out of the cogs.
Yeah.
Because when they spawn in a rectangle, some people will attack the corner cogs instead of the center ones.
Yeah.
Whereas, with the center.
You're completely right. Yeah, now you only need to kill 1 cog, no matter where the positioning is. If you want to go in any direction, I think this means that if you just kill 1 cog, you will be able to get out there as soon as possible. And that's good.
It's also the fact that there might be a higher chance for the cogs to hit you because before when you did attack the center cog, you could just walk out like, yeah, whatever, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Now there's actually more chance they could hit you, so I think this is fine.
Yeah, it's probably a buff overall. Crystal Maiden. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. One last point on the cogs.
Okay.
I believe it also affects the interaction with force staff because, when you get hit by cogs using force staff, like when going out, the direction isn't exactly predictable because when you're going out and you're being hit by cogs placed in a square layout, you don't know which direction you're going.
Yeah.
Well, with a circle layout, I believe you go in the same direction as you're forced out.
That's a very good
true.
point. A very good point, actually. And one of the biggest points I think to actually bring up about this is because Clockwork has always had a problem with people just buying a force staff and countering him. And that'll still be a problem. This will make the interaction between that a little bit more predictable, hopefully. Because a square, like exactly like you just said, like you're trying to go out the corner. I wonder which one's going to hit me, the top one or the one on the side of the corner that I'm trying to get out. Now, there's definitely going to be a cog up there because they're going to form in a circle. It'll make it hopefully a little bit more predictable. So that's a very good point to bring up. Good job. Good job, Burba. I'm happy. That's good. We'll move on to Crystal Maiden now. Her Crystal Nova cooldown got reduced by 1 second. And then this is a big one. Arcane level 4 increased. Now, I think this is just level 4. I think this just means that last point is going to be better. This doesn't mean that her points prior to that are going to be better. So don't get your panties in a bunch. But this is still very good. 0.5 mana is 0.5 mana. That's a Basilius. It's an extra Basilius or what?
Is it really? I mean, it's self, right?
No, it's just allies too. Allies are gonna get 0.5.
3/6.
Yeah, 3/6. So allies are gonna get 0.5 extra mana, and then you are gonna get 6. Are gonna get 1 whole extra mana. I think that's a really good change.
I mean, it's not the buff I was looking for CM, but hey, it's something. There's that.
I think honestly, I think she's on the edge of it. Like she's on the edge of getting picked, so they didn't want to like overbuff or anything like that. I could be completely wrong about that.
True.
But this hero is getting like every single patch. It's getting like it's becoming harder for me to say that I shouldn't be playing Crystal Maiden and learning her because she's getting so much better over these patches. She's like training.
Fair enough.
I imagine Crystal Maiden. If we're gonna make the Zeus Dragon Ball Z comparison, I imagine that Crystal Maiden since like 6.79 has been in the hyperbolic time chamber, just getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
We're holding a Rocky Balboa right now.
Yeah,
Training month.
Yeah. So Darkseer gets nerfed again. His base intelligence gets reduced again. He used to have like 29 base intelligence. Now he's dumb as fuck. And then Ion Shell is not purgeable. That's very unfortunate. But I don't think any of you guys have opinions on that, do you? I used to play Darkseer, but I have an abysmal win rate with him, so I don't really care. I've cut.
That's what
No,
by the way.
Yeah.
there's no reason to purge Iron Shell, really.
There's none. I just mean if an arbitrary purge comes in, it's never a good thing to have an ability be purgeable. I'll say that. I know what you're saying, but this makes it so that Oracle, who's now in Captain's mode, is now a really good pick against Darkseer offlane. This means that just in general, right, heroes that like have spammable AoEs that also have a purge on them, like Slark, like. Not, I guess that's not really. If he puts, I mean, that's still like if you're using Ion Shell on Slark for some reason to, although I don't know. Yeah, no, that would purge it because it's still technically a debuff. Like it'll purge it so you won't be dealing damage. It's just I know what you're saying, but this is definitely not a non-issue that Darkseer doesn't have to worry about. He doesn't have to just be like, oh well, who cares? Like there's gonna be some supports, like I mentioned, like Oracle, that are gonna now instantly hard counter the hero, which I'm glad about because I play Oracle, but. Because you can spam Fortune's End in lane if nobody's harassing you. Like you can buy 3 clarities and just use it 3 or 4 times and just prevent him from ever pushing the lane and having his way with your carry. I definitely think that if nothing else, we should mention that this brings new light to Oracle countering him. What? Sorry.
Does repel by Omni Knight purge?
Yes.
Yes.
So, to prevent Darkseer's laning stage becoming super strong in the off lane, they could put Omni in the safe lane with a Soul Ring just to repel creeps.
Exactly.
The Iron Shell.
Yeah.
Because his Iron Shell is only significant between levels 1 and 6.
7. 1 and
where
7.
his laning stage is so powerful.
Yeah. That is a good point. The thing about that though, I think, is that like Omni, I don't know. It's nicer to have that AoE purge like from Oracle because. He usually puts like Ion Shell on 1 or 2 creeps and then you just purge it off. Whereas and I think doesn't Repel and Omni in general have like problems with mana? Am I right?
Yeah, hence the early Soul Ring.
Yeah, you'd have to go really early Soul Ring, because he's throwing Ion Shells like really early himself. I'm just saying Oracle's a hero that starts with Fortune's End. He starts with that ability usually. He doesn't usually go too many other abilities except for maybe his W in a very niche situation. Omni, I don't think he even gets Repel at level 1. Yeah, it just it's 50 mana, so yeah, Omni's actually a really good pick against this hero as well. I thought it was a lot more mana than this, but yeah, you're right. Omni and Oracle are going to be very good, I think, against Darkseer now, specifically against his laning phase, because like you said, like Ion Shell's really only a significant source of damage in the early stages of the game, but damn, is it an annoying source of damage. So yeah, you have your counter picks now, boys. Rejoice. And then Dazzle changes. I think Arlink wants to maybe talk about these. I don't really give too much of a fuck. Cast point, that's pretty nice that it got nerfed. Mana cost increase, that's pretty nice. I like to see all these. Personally, I like to see all these. Weave's no longer providing flame vision. Yeah, this is all good shit for me. Thoughts, Arlink? You sad? Did Arlink die? Arlink?
Me and Arling actually had a conversation about this yesterday.
Oh, did
about Dazzle in general. Yeah, I felt that Poison Touch needed a rework. And
are we still on Dazzle right now?
Yeah, we're on Dazzle right now.
Yeah, we're on Dazzle.
So I'm glad that they're trying to buff Poison Touch again, but I'm not sure if this is still enough.
I mean, they're nerfing the shit out of Grave.
The Grave nerf is actually not that bad. All it does is make it so that now Dazzle will most likely have to get like a Soul Ring or some bullshit like that. That's about it. He's always had mana issues, especially if you got Poison Touch, so it certainly helps the Poison Touch thing to just get it at level 1 or some shit.
That's a really good
Otherwise, these are all fair nerfs. They're all perfectly fair, as long as they didn't take suggestions from freaking Reddit. All of those are really dumb.
Yeah, like what you say? Shallow Grave.
You should be able to purge Shallow Grave.
That's so stupid. Oh my god, that hurts my brain to hear. Like, guys, let's just completely wreck the hero. Death Prophet, temporarily removed from Captain's mode, replaced Witchcraft with a new ability, Spirit Siphon. Creates a spirit link between you and the target. This is like old Terrorblade, like really old Terrorblade used to have an ability like this, which drains their health and slows their movement speed. The spirit link breaks at 300 distance, lasts for 4 seconds. Really weird ability, but they buffed the crap out of her movement speed, reduced Crypt Swarm. They basically, everything that she got from Witchcraft, I think, is just added into the hero naturally, which is nice. So I think this will definitely bring the hero out to viability, because like the hero at level 1 has the level 4 Witchcraft now, and now she just gets this extra ability, which sounds kind of nice. The cast range is 500, but the link breaks at 300, which is weird. Because if you cast it at 500 range, isn't it just going to break instantly, or is it going to give you a second to get into range with them? That's weird.
Depends. It feels like she's the new Gyrocopter.
Yeah.
Where you know how Q was so OP in the first place,
yep.
And now with a buff to her base movement speed, basically you can't run away from Spirit Siphon.
Yeah, you can't.
I'll be right back, by the way.
In my opinion. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna, because she's 310 movement speed, and she's gonna slow your movement speed, and it's just gonna do a lot of damage. Yeah, I might start playing a little bit of Death Prophet. This looks really good.
Silence basically becomes a value point as well, since there's no Witchcraft anymore that increases the AoE of it.
Yeah, So yeah, the AoE took a hit then. Yeah, that's a good point. So the AoE
there's no mention. There's no mention on AoE.
Yeah. Well, I just assumed that it got it, so it's gonna stay the same, and it's just not gonna get the AoE increase. So yeah, I mean it's still gonna reduce in cooldown now. Like it's gonna scale down, which is nice. But yeah, you're gonna pretty much do a value point in that. I think, with Crypt Swarm scaling down, you're still gonna want to level that ability. You might even skip your ulti at level 6 on this hero now to get more solo kills, because this Spirit Siphon is going to be like an insane solo kill ability. It has a few charges too. That's kind of interesting to see that it has charges. But the mana cost is scaling down, and the Crypt Swarm just being Crypt Swarm, like you can kill people pretty easily with this hero. I think 310 movement speed, like yeah. We'll see what
Soul Ring is really essential now.
Yeah, that's
even more essential than before.
Yep, I agree.
So
good.
What's happening?
We're talking about Death Prophet. These are great changes. Spawn rate decreased from 1 ghost per 0.1 second to 0.3. That's whatever. I don't. The spirit count got increased too because of the extra. Okay, and that really only affects her. That doesn't affect her at all because you would have the ability maxed by level 11 anyway, so that doesn't affect her. But yeah, that just makes it so that she doesn't get nerfed because they took out exorcism. So good changes overall. I like to see these kinds of changes. Removing passive abilities, right, and just innately putting them into the hero's kits so that you can put like active abilities in there is really nice. I like to see that.
You're gonna be disappointed with Doom then.
I'll replace level death with a new ability, Infernal Blade. Passive / autocast attack ability. Mini stuns them for 0.3 seconds and applies a 4-second burn that deals 40 plus max HP. Is this becoming League of Legends? What the fuck? Max HP as magic damage, and it scales down to a 4-second cooldown. It's got a 40 mana cost, and it sounds like this ability, you can just have it up, yeah, constantly. They nerfed his base attack time, so he can't, like, what the fuck? Scorched Earth.
Why would they get rid of level death? That's like one of the best Final Fantasy references they had in the game. Let's be real here, but it's like...
Nah, fuck that ability. People just kind of were whatever indifferent about it. So, what does this do to the hero? That's my biggest question, is what does this do to the hero, in your opinion, Burba?
It gives him synergy with whatever creep he chooses to devour. That's probably the most obvious aspect.
So are we talking like the ghost? The ghost? Like other heroes?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Attack speed?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, if he picks up the centaur, the alpha wolf, or the speed creep,
yes,
this ability would go really well.
Why did you say the centaur? Because of the stun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
That's a very good point. No matter what creep he picks up, I mean, this costs 40 mana though, and Doom has a shit mana pool, in case you didn't know, like a really bad mana pool. Doom's mana pool is like a soul ring fills it entirely up. That's how low it is.
Isn't he also a hero that goes like Shivas and whatnot anyway?
That's late game, man. We're talking early. I'm talking early game. You're gonna have to get like a soul ring. You can't get away with Basilius into Vlad's or some dumb shit like that anymore. Like to satiate. To satiate this mana, this ability, and then Scorched Earth on top of it, because I think you're just gonna forget about Devour except for getting 1 point in it. I think that's the build. Is you get 1 point in Devour, you might even skip Doom at level 6 now. No, it's still too good of a solo killing. What would his build be? I might start playing Doom now again. This is, you know, it's interesting. Like his ability is kind of passive, but I really like it, even despite exactly what I just said about the Death Prophet thing, because it adds a lot of potential.
Well, the thing about Doom is that he always had two different builds. You either go really greedy and you hide in the jungle for 20 minutes, or you come out as a ganking combat Doom and you rush Aghanim's.
That's a good point.
So, with the cooldown of Infernal Blade being 4 seconds at level 4, it basically means that it increases your greed game, because I believe this helps you, like, this might stack with lifesteal, and if you use this in the jungle, it'll help you clear camps really quickly with Devour. So it might be a slight shift towards the greed meta, which I kind of like, to be honest, because greed meta is like completely up.
It's interesting. He's not gonna, because usually you want it to devour the biggest creep, but now you might want to smack it and take it down, because the max HP damage as magic damage is really nice. Well, it's only for 4 seconds, but still, that's like, if you max this ability first at level 7, you can. We can't assume talking about level 7 Jungle Doom. We gotta assume talking about like level 3 and level 4 and level 1. So level 1, you'll start devour and you'll rip the camp apart, right? And then level 2, if you hit level 2 off of your first camp, then you'll go to another camp, maybe you'll have this ability now, and you'll smack it with Infernal Blade, the biggest creep you can find. That'll only deal 40 plus, like, 5% of their max health as damage. But it'll be nice. It'll help you out more than Scorched Earth will in the jungle, that's for sure. I think that's for sure. So, interesting changes.
Yeah. His laning presence also becomes pretty strong with this ability, because it's a free nuke.
I mean, but you still want to level Scorched Earth, though. So you'd have to get, like... you might even have to skip Devour, or... You're right, though. It is a free nuke. So he'll probably go something like...
Not after the nerf.
Huh?
Not after the nerfs.
After the nerfs? I think
after the nerfs.
I think...
Scorched Earth.
Scorched Earth, I mean, it's only 5 damage at max rank. I think you'd still max that ability. I think what you'll do now is you'll get 1 point in Devour. If you're in lane, if you're in off lane, you'll get 1 point in Devour to offset the creep equilibrium and get a big creep. You'll level up with it, you'll get your gold off of it. Then you'll forget about the ability until like level 11, because you'll put points into Scorched Earth and his E. Because like you said, it's a nice nuke. It's a lot of damage, and it synergizes really well if you can keep up with your target, which you can because you have Scorched Earth and maybe Phase Boots. That's what I think. We'll see.
Maybe Orb of Venom.
Or Venom, yeah, that's a good point too. overall, I like these changes. We'll see what they do to the hero. I think overall this is technically a nerf, but maybe not by much because I like the new ability. But we'll see what they do, or what happens to the hero. Dragon Knight, they're making his passive even more. This is, I told them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's insane health regen at max rank, but I still don't think this is what he needs. They need to like remove that ability or some shit like that and change it just like they did with Doom. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Drow Ranger.
The AoE increase is nice though, I guess.
It's a little bit nice. 50 isn't too much of an AoE though. Mostly, I'm looking at this. That's over double. They increase the HP regen. So in fights, like with a Helm of the Dominator and this regen, you're gonna be really tanky. It makes him more of a late game beast. I'll say that. Scepter for Drow, marksmanship now causes her attacks to splinter on the target, like Winter Wyvern, and split into 2 arrows, affecting 2 random targets, like Rune's Hurricane. If you guys play League of Legends, Kappa. The splintered arrows deal 50% damage each. The primary target still takes 20 full damage. How do you feel about that? Is that terrible? That's probably terrible.
I hope this applies to towers.
I mean, it could be good if she's given an Aghanim's like freaking.
Yeah, by Alchemist. That's the only exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Otherwise, even if this applies to towers, like how I wonder still how could this be good? Because you have to.
Support Alchemist maybe making a comeback.
Maybe
Boys.
that's the only way I could see it. Because this 4200 for this effect is not. This I think this would only be good with Alchemist. Can we? Are we gonna skip over? I think we're gonna skip over this. Yeah, Earth Spirit. Oh, dude. I should make a separate video. I'll make a new guide, guys. I'll tell you that. They enabled him to Captain's Mode, so cool. But his intelligence got hit a little bit. The stun AoE reduced. I wish they didn't change this. You can change Geo Grip like this. Pulled allied heroes when using Scepter. Okay, so I think this doesn't affect his offlane too much. That's good. But the AoE, I wish they hadn't changed this. Whoa, somebody's getting texted. These 2 changes, I think, didn't need to happen if you're going to make this change, but we'll see. I'll make a new guide, boys, I promise. We'll see what this does to the hero. What?
Yeah, it's basically no level 1 pull saves anymore. It's better to kick an enemy up the cliff now rather than to pull somebody to save.
Yep, if you fight at the rune level 1, yeah. That's a good point. And there's way much more than that, though. Like, Geo Grip, in the mid-game, you might need to get a Scepter, because using that ability on allied heroes is just so good. And it lets you pull allied heroes, but only when you have a Scepter. So we might be seeing Blink Scepter become a more viable item build choice. Used to be Blink Scepter, it's good, but that's a lot of gold that you're investing into kind of being a one-trick pony. But now it gives you the ability of Old Air Spirit. We'll see how good being able to pull allied heroes is with this change, and I think it's going to be huge. So we'll see, boys. I got 420 games on Air Spirit. We'll see if I can't make 420 more with this change.
I hope you'll be able to do your level 1 trick.
Yeah,
there's no mention of that.
Yep. No, you can. I'm pretty sure you can. It says only pull allied heroes when using Scepter. So I still think you can do the Creep to Night level 1. We'll see.
Probably.
Elder Titan.
Yeah, it's not just heroes, so creeps will be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure creeps will be fine. But with Elder Titan, we got the Earth Splitter. That was his ulti, am I correct? Yes, that was salty, and it's scaling up to 50% damage at max rank. That's max health. That's guaranteed max health. It's composite, like it takes reductions from both types, but that's 50% of the hero's HP just getting wiped out at level 16. That's insane. And the mana cost got
not bad.
Reduced at level 1. I like that. And then it scales up to 225, so maybe he'll have to get a mana component. Earth Splitter's physical damage component is no longer reduced by damage block. A nice kind of small little buff there, but. Yeah, mostly it's that damage rescale. We'll see if that's good enough. I don't think that's good enough for him, but that's just me. Ember Spirit Fire Remnants no longer give vision. This was a good. It sucks because I do sometimes play Ember, but this was the change that I think needed to happen. We'll see if they change anything else about him, but yeah, I think I talked earlier about how they kind of buffed him in a small way, so we'll see how this works. Yeah, they buffed him. They didn't buff him, but they made him better at jungle. They made his jungle more favored to like Shadow Fiend, because we talked about that earlier with our link.
So sorry, Wyatt. Just one last point on Elder Titan.
Yeah, sorry, I skipped over.
Based on the buffs they've given to his ultimate, it seems that they're building him as an anti-tank because we're starting to see strength carries like Alchemist and Bristleback becoming slightly popular. So the fact that they reduce 50% of his HP, as well as the fact that Crimson Guard is a popular item on Bristleback, it seems like Elder Titan is built to become an anti bristleback or an anti-husk.
Yeah.
Or an anti-husker hero or something like that.
Yep, that's actually...
That seems to be the intuition.
Yep. That's a very good point, especially since Earth Splitter isn't all magic damage. It's a really good ability, especially against Huskar. It already was, but it's even more of a good ability because you can't... Huskar, his E, right? Elder Titan does not care about Berserker's Blood, magic resistance, as much as any other hero would if they were trying to cast magic damage nukes. And yeah, like you said with Bristleback, if you can hit Bristle with this ability, it's also very good. So... basically, this ability, like, you can't just tank it anymore, boys. Like, you gotta run from it, man. You see the big stone or the big split in the earth, man. You gotta care about it now. Definitely. 50%, that's too much damage to just tank. I do agree with what you just said. He's gonna be kind of, maybe he'll be a niche pick, if nothing else. Hopefully. Enchantress. Enchant cooldown reduced. This is pretty small. I don't see this making a huge change. Do we need to talk about this? Or the Ember Spirit change? I didn't give you guys time to talk about the Ember Spirit change. You guys got any opinions? I think Artie Hoka might have a conversation with me about this. We'll see, but we'll talk about that later. Enigma, Eidolon. Okay, I'm so happy they're buffing the movement speed. Holy shit, that needed to happen so long ago. Okay, now he can actually have his Eidolons keep up with him, and he might actually be able to gank now because Malefice is scaling up in damage too. Malefice was his Q, and it did damage by every pulse. So this is so nice. And then the black hole. Oh my god, thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much. I can't, dude. You're gonna actually want to level up this ability now. The mana cost is just it's too much. You're giving up too much to not level this ability up now. Even though it scales up in mana cost. I am so glad they're making these Enigma changes. Like this is, I think this is exactly what he needed. Everything here is in accordance. Even I wouldn't even said anything about the Malefice. Just these two changes were what I thought he needed, and then they gave us an extra Christmas present. So thank you, Ice Frogu, OS Frog. Void. They're removing him from Captain's Foot too. I think replace backtrack. Time dilation. What the heck? Or is that dilation? I think that's dilation.
Dilation?
It applies a debuff to all nearby heroes within a 650 AoE for 6, 7, 8, and 9 seconds, which causes time to be frozen on all enemy abilities, causing their cooldowns to make no progress while they have this debuff. And it slows their movement speed and attack speed 4 to 6, 8, and 10% for each locked ability. So if he catches a hero out when they've used all of their abilities, he can slow them and their attack speed significantly whilst also fucking over their... What the fuck? This ability's crazy. Hey, we're gonna see more of Void Boost.
This ability seems to be made to counter the arcane.
The arcane? Who?
The new rune. The new rune.
The new arcane?
The new rune.
Oh,
yeah.
I see what you're talking about. Yeah. That makes sense.
You're talking about like gank heroes or somebody that comes in and tries to like screw you over? Because I don't know if this just counters that ability much as it just counters people that spam all their abilities. Like Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit's a hero that when he's trying to do his full combo on you...
Bristleback, maybe.
Bristleback. A little bit. Just heroes that like to spam their entire load on you, right? It's like, I see that guy, so I want to Q him. Now I want to E him. Now I want to W him. Now I want to ulti him. Like, he now counters... Faceless Void is now a viable counter to Earth Spirit, I think, with this ability alone. Because this is an insane ability against the right hero that has 4 active abilities. But I see what you're saying with the Arcane Rune, too.
And now he won't dodge shit anymore, right?
That's a really good point, too. So I'm very happy about that change. Because fuck backtrack in every sense of the word. Time Walk no longer slows units. Huh?
Because when he said every sense of the word, I was like, oh, I see what you're talking about.
No. Okay, never mind. Not that last sense. Not that sexual sense there. Patch notes gone sexual. Time Walk no longer slows units. That's cool. It now undoes any damage taken in the last 2 seconds. So backtrack is kind of on Time Walk now a little bit. Kind of like a mini Weaver ulti. Time Walk cooldown reduced. Rescaled. So it's higher earlier ranks, but way lower at later ranks. The mana cost reduced significantly. The range reduced significantly. So it's not really used too much as a blink now. And the cast point got reduced a little bit.
No, you max this.
You max this?
You literally max this because it's a time lapse every 6 seconds, like you said. You max this and you fight.
Over time dilation?
You max this. Yeah, you max this. You get the 1 value point in time dilation since it's 6 seconds is OP already. And you just go in and man fight people.
What about his stun? His stun though.
6 seconds buff. it probably wouldn't just apply on active skills. You're looking at passive skills that have cooldown, like Weaver's Germinate or Legion Commander's lifesteal ability that has a cooldown.
The cooldown on Legion Commanders is really small though, so it's wishful thinking to assume that
doesn't matter. You freeze it. You freeze it for 6 seconds.
I know, but I mean, it only freezes the ability if the ability is off cooldown or is on cooldown. You know what I mean? So really short cooldown abilities like Axis spins, you're gonna be lucky if you use this ability properly. Like when you see him spin, you better spam that button and get it right at the millisecond that he spins. So it's got a lot of skill, I guess, if you're trying to freeze those abilities. But you're right. You are right about that. I'm talking about, I don't know if you can max this ability in fight, because you still need to max his stun so that you can do bonus damage during Chronosphere. You know what I mean? His stun is his damage. I don't know if you knew this. Faceless Void does double damage if he stuns you when you're in Chronosphere. And that's why they always used to max, what's it called, Time Lock? They always used to max Time Lock first. So that you can ulti at level 6, run into somebody, hit him a bunch, get lucky because RNG, and then hopefully kill the guy because...
Someone's mentioning in chat that it freezes the duration as long as it happens.
Freezes the duration? Freezes cooldown?
It freezes the ability as long as it happens during the debuff on them.
What are we saying?
Yeah, exactly. So after the first spin, you basically don't get any more spins for the next 6 seconds.
Wait, guys.
So basically, if you hit them with that ability and they spin, they basically won't be spinning anymore.
I don't think that's how it works. No, okay. Yeah. Applies a debuff to... Wait. Causes time to be frozen on all their abilities, causing their cooldowns to make no progress while they have it. Oh, okay, yeah. That's a... Holy shit, Void just got... Holy crap, that ability's broken. That means even if you aren't... Okay, it takes no skill. Suddenly, for a slim second there, I thought Faceless Void took skill. And... everything just going out the fucking window. And this ability is like, you run into a fight, use this ability. Anybody that's using their ability is going to get fucked over. This is... holy shit. Alright.
6 seconds. It's a 6 second man fighting window.
In an AoE. Holy fuck. That's insane. Okay. Any thoughts on... That's broken as balls. That is a Jarrett play there. Sorry, dude. Jarrett. Fucking Jarrett. But holy crap, that's insane. That's insane. 650 AoE. Blink Dagger? I think it's Blink Dagger on Void. Because of the Time Walk range reduce. He's going to be an initiator now. They're making him more of an initiator. Like, more of an initiator, less of a carry, I think. Because the backtrack thing.
Void offlane come back again, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Void offlane. Because you can shrug off the damage they do to you, even with a low range. That's what they're doing. They're just making him a better offlaner. You're not going to... I don't think you can play carry on this hero as much anymore. But we'll see. We'll see. Any more opinions, anybody?
It just means the items that self-purge, like Greaves, Yules, and all that, will be really, really important. Just for this guy.
Just for this guy?
Like, if you have this debuff applied on you, you see the icon, you use yourself straight away. Just to debuff it. And just remove the debuff.
With what? With his Time Walk? I don't think it purges.
Oh, not Time Walk, Time Dilation. Because Time Dilation applies the debuff. So, any item...
I get it. So I wonder, Yep. I do wonder if this ability can be purged. Because it's a very strong ability. It's a very strong ability. I would be surprised if it couldn't get purged. I don't know. This is a very strong... Void just got an insane tool to his kit. This is an insane tool. I'll say that much.
Yeah, but it's important that this skill applies a debuff on enemy heroes rather than a buff on himself.
Yes.
Because the counters will be slightly different.
Yeah. Assuming the debuff can be countered. Like Doom, fun fact about Doom, you cannot purge Doom unless you die. So like Wraith King, and that's it. Like, so if you can purge this, it makes no mention of whether or not you can purge this ability in the tooltip currently. So if it is able to be purged, then yeah, Guardian Greaves, Oracle, like heroes that can purge, really good. Omni Knight, really good, because this is a very strong ability. So being able to purge it, especially if you have like an AoE purge, like especially Oracle, because the ability is AoE. If you target your allies, you can purge your allies now with that ability, and purge it in AoE. We'll get into that change later, but that's just something I read. Could be very, very good against this hero, because you want those AoE purges for this ability. This ability is very strong, but it has a long cooldown even at level 4. So we'll see. This ability is so strong though. So I don't know. Let's when we move on to Gyro. We're moving on to Gyro. Gyro is first missile got a small damage reduction nerf just by 30, and then 15, and then it's the same. That's nice. His early game damage was very whatever.
Whatever.
He had a lot of early game. I'm not too concerned about this. I don't think that this will break the hero in any way. Huskar Berserker's Blood bonuses are provided linearly from full until 10% HP, rather than stepwise at 7% increments. That makes sense, right? Linearly from.
Sure.
I think that makes sense. I think this isn't this a buff? I think this is a buff. The change after that is a nerf, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody got opinions on this? I thought this was I thought the first change.
Not me.
No. Okay. Yeah, I don't really play Huskar too much. I think this is probably just a nerf overall. Shit. How many patch notes have I read over that I haven't understood? Invoker now starts level 1 Invoke at the beginning of the game. He starts with that ability whether you want to or not. So does that mean that you can't level up at level 1 or?
I laughed really hard at this because there's no point getting Invoke at level 1.
Exactly. So I wonder if this means that you get the free ability. Does that mean that you get the ability for free, or does that mean that you can't do anything at level 1?
I'm guessing it means you get it for free.
So he starts the game with Invoke. Huh?
Because it also says that he starts he now levels standardly at 6, 11, and 16. So
does that mean that like at the start of the game you get Invoke and you get to level up an ability? Because if that's what that means, and this is a huge buff, because that means you can fight with Cold Snap at the rune, which is very powerful. I think that's what this means. I think, and then level 25 Invoker. Yeah, I think that's what this means. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And then he has an attribute, a bonus ability that gains +6 doll stats. I think since he is now missing an ability level, he gets a stronger later game. They're just making the level 25 the like power up, like this is my final form. Like he's just getting that much stronger because he is missing an ability level.
He has the Goku hair too.
Yeah, he has the Goku hair. I have that cosmetic. So yeah, so now at level 25 you get a bonus 6 strength, which is the most significant, I think. The intelligence you're probably gonna have at level 25. You're not gonna have too many mana problems, and the agility is just 1 extra armor, but you're gonna gain an extra literally an extra 120 HP almost. I guess it's more like 110, but still, that's very good. Good changes. Bonus ability. That's cool. Jakiro, wait, does anybody have any opinions on that?
No.
Yeah, I think that's a good change. That's what he needed, I think. He can fight over the rune now. Jakiro base damage increased by 7. That's nice. Very nice.
All right.
Nice for his E. So you can start E, you can do some insane damage. Coddle, Chakra Magic cooldown reduction increased a little bit, 1 second at every rank, and then the buff duration, so like your ally doesn't have to spam a spell afterwards to get the bonus, is increased by 3 seconds, and then it restores and increases the mana capacity by 70, 150, 225, and 300. So it acts like a soul ring now, only it's better because it doesn't go away.
Oh, good lord, man!
Thoughts? Thoughts about that? Anyone?
I hardly get games where I see a Kotal in the first place, so I really.
He's gonna be played a lot more, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kotal's not played in C.
This helps those.
Sports aren't played in C.
Yeah, this really helps, in my opinion. This really helps the Kottals that are like supporting strength heroes like Doom that can't, or Ember Spirit. Ember was the first one I was thinking of. Like Ember can't use all of his abilities if he wants to at level 7. With his base mana. So if you give him the Coddle Chakra Magic, he gets a bigger mana pool, so then you can use all of your abilities without worry. So heroes that can't naturally cast their abilities because of their mana limitations without items, Coddle can help you out there. I like that change a lot.
This is really good.
It's a very good change. Kunkka, Ags, I can't wait. Kunkka's ghost ship now drags. It literally, so if you cast it, it drags.
It's the change from the what's that custom game called again?
Wyatt, I have to go.
Oh shit, dude!
It's starting for me, so.
Oh, that's so fun.
So I'll see you guys next time. Shout out to the new GG branch. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's really funny too. We read that, but yeah, thanks, mate. It's nice, dude. We'll catch you later, bro.
Have a good one, man.
You too. Or yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, what he's.
Alright.
Peace.
You guys take care.
Peace out, Burba. Okay, so that's 2 people. 2 people so far have came and gone. We'll see who we're gonna run into next. Anyways, Kunkka added Aghanim Scepter. So you cast the ability, it runs by them, and if you have an Ags, it will latch onto the hero, so you don't have to worry about missing your ulti anymore. Drag them 200 AoE. Within a 200 AoE, it'll just drag them towards the crash site. It now starts from where you are rather than behind you. Lands in the same position that you normally would have. Enemies are still able to perform actions while being pulled. What were you gonna say?
Pretty good. It reminds me of that custom game, honestly. The
Dota?
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing, except not as ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. Works similar to Drow Ranger's Gust knockback. Okay. Torrent now gives vision to your team over a target area immediately upon cast rather than just when triggering. That's kind of nice. It gives a little bit of vision. Tidebringer is now an auto-cast ability with will only trigger if turned on or cast directly on the target. That's really nice, so you don't have to push lane if you don't want to. As well as you can just make, I don't know, tactical decisions or whatever the fuck. Tidebringer damage bonus increased by 5 damage at every rank. That's nice for early game. AoE rescaled to be less at earlier ranks, and then a little bit more at level 3. And then
you're talking about the Tidebringer AoE, right?
Yeah.
It basically only it's a little bit more on
less at level 1, more level 3, and then it's the same at level 4. So whatever. Ghost mana cost reduced. That's really nice too, even if it's only 25 mana, because Kunkka's mana pool is kind of shit, so he benefits from that. Legion Commander, Moment of Courage cooldown. This is the ability that we were talking about earlier with the Void thing. The cooldown's a little bit less, so she might be able to get more procs off. Legion Commander's Scepter now makes you and your target immune to all damage unless the source is between the dual participants. Now that is interesting. I don't think that's good. I still think it's bad. Wait, they removed the Scepter. Okay, that's very interesting. Maybe it's good now. They removed the Infinite Scepter duration. That's really weird. So basically, it's just you and him, man. You get that scepter, and it's just
literally the Mortal Kombat now.
Yeah,
it's
it's just fucking Mortal Kombat. We in this bitch dueling and shit. It's pretty funny. Any thoughts on any of these changes? Kunkka, Legion, I haven't given you any time.
Kunkka, I thought that was just fair,
Yeah.
and the Legion one's that's pretty funny, but it's cool at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think these last 2 changes are going to make too much of a difference unless you have an Axe giving Alchemist in your game, because I still
pretty much.
I don't think you're going to get the item still. But Moment of Courage is kind of nice.
Unless you're playing support offlane Kunkka, right? That could be.
You're talking about the Kunkka. I thought you were talking about the Legion. Yeah, the Kunkka might get Scepter now. I don't know. To always hit Ghost Scepter or Ghost Ship, pretty much always. Like a Ghost Ship is usually going to touch the enemy. It's just not going to hit them always. But now it's pretty much always going to hit them. If you're playing like support offlane Kunkka, like you said, yeah, you might actually get this. It's pretty good. Lifestealer Rage attack speed bonus is a little bit better at earlier ranks, which is nice. Feast damage and lifesteal increased, just a little bit. The scale's a little bit better too. Not actually, it's only 5.5%. I mean, it does technically scale better. And then Infest cooldown reduced. Sorry.
This is pretty good.
This is pretty good. I think that Infest cooldown's really nice with all the new changes. It helps his jungle a lot at the level 11 mark, and technically still the level 16 mark. Still, it just helps him farm faster at level 11 especially.
It also helps him escape ganks a lot easier at later levels.
Yep.
It used to be that people would just jump them and he was just straight up dead if it was on cooldown for 100 seconds. Now it's just always up.
It's always up, yeah. It's just like old Lycan, I think, where your ability's always going to be up. Lion Urspok.
Also, Naga Siren.
Naga Siren? What about her?
Yeah, her Song of Siren, the way they reduced the cooldown to 60 seconds at max level.
Yeah. That's pretty much what this is. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Lion Earthspike mana cost reduced a little bit at later ranks. Not really even significant. This is same the first 2 levels, 5 less the third level, and then 10 less the last level. That's pretty insignificant. But the duration on the stun has been increased by 0.8 seconds across the board. That's 0.8, 0.8, and then 0.9, and then 0.8. What? No, yeah, it's 0.8. My math is off. 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8. That's kind of nice. And then the cooldown on mana drain is reduced by 4, 3, 2, 1. That's kind of cool. Any thoughts on that? Just small buffs.
None thoughts at all.
Really small buffs, not significant. Whoops. Okay. Lone Druid, read these changes earlier. They look really nice, but the hero's pretty much reworked entirely. Like, he's going to be a different hero, I think, from now on. Because this new ability, it costs 50 mana to cast, so you're going to have a lot more mana problems on Lone Druid than you used to. Because between this ability and I mean, this ability is good, but I don't actually know what you're going to level now outside of Spirit Prayer. Like, Savage Roar sounds pretty good, especially since it gives you, I don't know. It gives you kind of a CC outside of Entangle, which is unreliable, but Rabbit is great for the movement speed that it gives you. And they buffed Rabbit since Synergy is out of the game now. So you might level Rabbit in some cases. You're probably going to level this, because it also gives you, I think this gives you damage, doesn't it? No, it just gives you a CC. Who knows? You might actually level this. You'll probably level this. You'll probably level this, your Spirit Bear. Get those early kills because the CC is pretty good. 20%, it's an 80% movement speed slow, essentially. And they'll run towards their fountain. And they increase the damage on the bear, they increase the movement speed on the bear at later ranks. At every rank besides 1, they increase the speed by 10, so that's really nice. Yeah.
Wouldn't this be Savage Roar be a good disengage?
Yeah, it would, if everybody's on top of your bear. The AoE is really small. Yeah. Oh, around you or your bear. So if everybody's on your bear, then yes. If everybody's on you, this is also still a very good ability. It shares the cooldown between you and your bear, right? But it only affects one of you. So you make a choice. Do you want to roar on your bear, or do you want to roar on yourself? That's pretty cool. I like this ability a lot. It's a good ability. Good changes. Any opinions?
Oh.
I like the health buff at later ranks for
I like what Berber said, though, that he's not really a Radiant's first pickup anymore.
How come?
Ooh.
I don't know. I think this is still going to fit.
I don't play the hero, so I don't know much about Lone Druid.
Same as Axe Call range. Basically, he's not a Radiant's first. Oh, I see. This is what Berber said. It's hilarious, to be honest. I think it's probably still Radiance is still a pretty good item on this hero. I think the Radiance is still a good item on this hero, I think. We'll see. Turn rate increased on Luna. That's nice. And then the Scepter Beam, just the Scepter Beam interval reduced. You're still never going to get that item on her, and the turn rate is nice. That's pretty much it. Lycan, this is a big change. Guys, my Lycan guide might need to get updated because of this, because I think his jungle just became a little bit safer, especially when you hit level 3, but it became slower because you don't have crit anymore. You do not have crit unless you use your ulti. So he's still becoming a little bit more of a fighting hero. Not getting crit is unfortunate, but if you cripple your target, it's insane. For 8 seconds, they're bleeding out. No, wait, no, sorry. For 4 seconds, they're bleeding out, and they're taking 8 damage per second. I wonder if that stacks between both your wolves, right? If you can crit with one, or cripple with one of your wolves and then cripple with the other, and it stacks, that'd be super sick. But it's 8 damage for 4 seconds, so quick math, that's 8, 16, 24, 32 damage, right, that you're going to do, and then they lose attack speed. Which makes it really good. It's still, like, that's losing attack speed is nice for the jungle. This is probably a nerf overall, though, to Lycan jungle as I'm looking at it more. Like, that damage is pretty small in the grand scheme of things. And the damage, the attack speed reduction is nice, but I don't think you want it over crit. I bet you probably want crit more. Whoops. Lycan is a 1v1 god now. Literal god. He's not a fighter, he's a lover. Rip wolves need no armor.
The necro books and everything are going to start critting if you're in wolf form.
That's a really good point. Very good point. Shapeshift now grants crit to all units. So yeah, get necro book, boys, and probably and they made the crit a little bit better at level 3, but worse at level 1 and 2. I don't know. You will probably get necro book on this hero pretty much in 100% of your games, that's for sure. Magnus, added Scepter. Changes in power to be an allied hero aura, right? That affects ranged units for half the value and causes them to deal splash damage around the target at 200 AoE. Can still be cast on units, but it does not stack. So, skewer distance is increased as well at earlier ranks. They're making a mistake here. They're making him a little bit like he used to be, where skewer was an absurd range at earlier ranks. It's not too much of a change, but still. Skewer slow reduced, so that's nice. That if they're gonna buff the range, they probably should reduce the what's it called? The insanity of the slow at earlier ranks. And the duration is going to
scale. At the same time, it doesn't matter too much because he always maxes that that ability second anyway.
That is a good point. Yeah. Good buffs to Magnus, and the Scepter thing might be nice, even just to pick up casually as like a third or fourth item, because that's pretty damn good, and power is a good ability. Medusa Mystic Stick no longer increases mana steal per jump, but the mana steal is now 11, 14, 17, and 20% of total mana. So I think that's a buff. They probably buffed Medusa. I couldn't see them nerfing her, so I think this is overall probably a better thing to have. Usually this is probably better, I think.
And now she could, because normally you used to just want to make it jump so that you could get more mana off the enemy hero. Now you could just pop them with it and be like, thanks for your mana, bitch.
Yeah.
Just walk off.
That's a good point. Just using this on a hero solo, you're going to steal probably 20% of their total mana, I think, right?
That's max level, I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah. And then every time it jumps, it's going to steal 20%. So this is actually a really good buff to Medusa, I think. Good change. Good change. Solid change. Meepo, double damage no longer affects all Meepo units. RIP. Mirana's attack range is increased by a little bit. 30, that's like the Clink's treatment. Starstorm radius is increased by 25. Sacred Arrow now instantly kills the first unit it hits if it is a non-ancient creep. That's not too big, actually. I thought that would be a little bigger. Whenever I see instant kills, I'm just like, whoop. So it just straight up kills creeps now, like one-shots them. Nothing too big here, right? Are you concerned with these changes?
No.
No, whatever. Morphling, Adaptive Strike, this is you. This is you, my friend. Adaptive Strike base damage increased up to 100. Just nothing. This is just a straight up buff. Mana cost reduced, that's a straight up buff. Scaling down. Morph rate increased pretty significantly at later ranks. And then now shifts in intervals of 1 rather than in intervals of 2. Doesn't affect the rate, just the smoothness. Hybrid cooldown reduced from 140 to 120. That's support Morphling, though.
Huh?
Any thoughts? We in this bitch.
The support morph is becoming more viable.
Yeah, but Earth Spirit's becoming less. We in this bitch.
That's true.
Hybrid.
That's true.
Hybrid and our buddies. That's pretty funny. Naga Siren base intelligence increased. That's nice. A little bit. Nature's Prophet base intelligence increased by 4, so that's 4 extra damage and like 50 extra mana. This means the greater Treant damage is increased, as well as the Treant damage being increased. So go Octarine Core.
The cancer is back.
Yeah, guys, Octarine Core, Aghanim Scepter, Nature's Prophet is hella cancer if you can get it. I'm not even joking. It's probably the most insane thing in the world.
I'm so sad.
Night Stalker, Void at night. Void slow is reduced at earlier ranks, and I kind of like to see that. But I don't know if he needed that much of a nerf. Like, I don't even know if this hero needed nerf.
Did he really need a nerf?
He didn't need a nerf. This is unnecessary, I think. I felt like people kind of overvalued that hero. I'm very sad to see him get nerfed, but we'll see if this hurts him too much. I mean, you always nerf, or you always max Void anyways. And usually, by the first night, it's like 4 minutes. So if you go solo mid or something, you're pretty close to that level 7 anyways. Nah, you're like level 5 or so. So yeah, this is kind of a nerf. That sucks. Hurts his solo killing potential. That sucks for him. But these are nice changes. Nyx Assassin. Impale duration increasing, especially at earlier ranks. At later ranks, it's very minuscule. And then Spike Carapace reduced. So I need to tell my friend to come back and play Nyx Assassin, because I had a friend that used to play Dota that played a frick ton of Nyx Assassin. Like,
I love Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, he's got
not my favorite hero, but I'm happy that he's buffed. Alright, we're in there.
We in there. Yeah, these are some nice changes, especially that Spike Carapace, I think. Literally unkillable. Yeah. I think. Maybe. Ogre Magi, base health. Ogre Magi is literally, I think, the hardest hero to kill in the game. I'm not probably not. Actually, definitely not, but like that's the highest base health regen in the game now, I think, or at least the second, at least in tie with the highest. I think him and Nyx Assassin have the highest, and he has the highest base armor. So Ogre Magi is just a tanky, insane beast. That's cool.
His ability to walk at offlaner and just smack him in the face is even stronger now?
Yeah. To just walk into the offlaner in front of a bunch of creeps with a stout shield or 6 mangoes and just hit him and then just walk away is insane. Ogre Magi is becoming quite the tanky support, and I like to see it. Oracle. Enabled in Captain's Mode. Fate's Edict Cooldown got reskilled. I like to see that a little bit. It's kind of a nerf because usually you don't max that ability until last, so maybe we'll see some build diversity in that respect. The duration got reduced, which is unfortunate at later ranks mostly. Cast range got reskilled to lower. So overall, they nerfed Fate's Edict, which kind of sucks. The mana cooldown, or the mana cost, sorry, on Fortune's End though is nerfed by 20. Or no, Fortune's End was his nuke. Sorry, never mind. But that's nice to see that. He has less mana problems with that. Can now target allies, like I told you guys earlier, and it no longer dispels after the initial cast. False Promise no longer continuously dispels after the initial cast. That's a pretty big change. That means you can't cast on your carry and just turn them into a wrecking monster of doom for the next, 9 seconds as it is now at max rank, right? Like, you gotta kind of try to carefully time, use it like an Abaddon shield, because it doesn't continuously purge like Sark anymore. The duration is increased, though, to compensate for 1 second. The cooldown's also higher at rank 1, but then lower at rank 3 by 10 seconds, which is nice. And then the mana cost got reduced significantly. So this is, overall, these changes, I like them. He was probably a little bit too powerful. I like that they hit Fate's Edict. That ability is a very strong ability. That ability is very strong, is what I could have said.
It's good that they hit False Promise as well.
Yeah, they hit it and they buffed it, too, in some ways.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
I think overall I like these changes. I don't think it's a buff, but I think I like these changes. I'll say that. Mike 88. What are we saying? Every hero getting plus 30 HP. That's a good point. We talked about that earlier. Every hero is 30 HP stronger. Outworld Devourer. They've reworked how Astral Imprisonment works. So it now deals damage to enemies in an area around the target when it ends. The target itself will also take this damage if it is an enemy. It deals. I hope this no longer instills intelligence. Okay, that's herp derp. So they have to, I was going to say, they better rework this hero entirely if they're going to make it not steal intelligence anymore. But now it's a nuke. It's got a 400 AoE. It can now be targeted on creeps. That's kind of cool. Its cooldown is rescaled to higher a little bit at earlier ranks and then lower at later ranks. The cast range is scaling now too. The duration is flat amount, so you're probably going to get 1 value point, but it still gets better when you level it up. Essence Aura reduced. Arcane Orb now... Okay, so now your Arcane Orb steals intelligence per 40 seconds, heroes only. Is this good, do you think? What do you think? They reduced...
The Astral Imprisonment?
What do you think about all these changes? I knew that he needed...
Honestly, I think the whole being able to just constantly steal mana from someone is what made him such a lane dominator. But
he can do that now with Arcane Orb.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to level it up first. I think these are good changes overall. I think maybe 1 value point in Astral Imprisonment, followed by maxing your Arcane and your Essence Aura is going to be maybe the build.
Yeah.
We'll see how this changes him.
Okay.
OD Slark. Yeah, OD's basically Slark only. He steals more mana and no other stats. I like these changes a little bit. We'll see how these impact the hero, though. It might make him worse. We'll see. I think what they should have done if they were going to do these was increase his attack range. I would have liked that. But he has an item that he can get now that can increase his attack range, which we'll talk about later. PA, base intelligence, who cares? Phoenix, I don't want this guide to run on too long, this review to run on too long. It's an hour and 30 minutes in. PA, base intelligence increased, who cares, like I said. Phoenix, Sunray, turn rate increased. When he's using Sunray, his turn rate got increased by by 5. Herp derp, who cares? Supernova, at later ranks, this ability really burns. I like these changes to Phoenix. They're making him scale a little bit better. I like these changes, I think. I do. Yeah, you might actually want to run this hero mid now, like, viably. Just because he can dominate the mid lane if he's against the right matchups, and then also, like, he can scale a little bit better now. 20 extra damage for burns like that is really nice. Like, damage over times, guys, even small damage damage buffs to damage over times are really nice. Any thoughts, or moving on? Moving on, Puck, Illusory Orb. I knew that Puck was going to get buffed. Way lower mana cost at earlier ranks. That's really nice for Puck. And just in general, that ability costs like no mana. Like half at rank 1. That's really nice. And then the cooldown got increased a little bit, but I think those are all really nice buffs. And then the cooldown on Waning Rift is now lower as you scale it up, and then it no longer only silences heroes. It now silences creeps too. Thoughts?
That's fine.
That's fine.
It's pretty good for him.
Really good buffs.
Whatever.
Yep. Yeah, what the fuck is Puck? Is it a guy or a girl?
I don't know.
That androgynous being. Wired, thanks for Puck, yeah. Pudge, they reworked Scepter on him. It now reduces his meat hook to 4 seconds and increases the damage by 115. No longer grants the previous scepter bonuses. Okay. So basically, you get this and you better be hooking him. You're a hooker.
Yeah.
You're a hooker. Dismember damages. Wait. Okay. They literally turned Pudge into Devour from Han, right? Devour from Han, guys. This is what Devour used to do. This is exactly what he used to do. He now naturally does damage based off of his strength, Pudge as in, and he heals himself for the damage it does naturally. These are really good changes to Pudge. I wouldn't be surprised if it puts him into Captain's mode. Or into the professional scene. These are really, really nice changes to Pudge, I think. Sorry, were you trying to get a word in?
No, he's pretty strong.
That's a very... God, that's... If he snowballs, it's going to be very hard to come back. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Pugna, nice change. Decrypt no longer slows allies. That's very nice. I wonder if that includes himself. Yeah, that probably does.
More than likely.
More than likely, yeah. A very nice change. But it still has a downside. It's just not terrible. Queen of Pain. Scream of Pain reduced at earlier ranks a little bit, and the travel speed reduced. So very small changes on Sonic Wave. Very small changes, I think, overall. But we'll see if the other changes that happened throughout this patch hurt her in a significant way. Because some heroes became strong that kind of shit on her, so we'll see. Ricky got removed from Captain's mode because they reworked permanent invisibility to include backstab. So now, when he levels permanent invisibility, he also gains damage when attacking people from behind.
Support Ricky becoming better.
Becoming better? The invisibility fade time scaled, I think, up. It no longer gains health regeneration. That kind of sucks. We'll see if they... Okay, Blink Strike. Back to its basic ability without charges. That kind of sucks. Added a new ultimate for Ricky. Tricks for the trade. I just want to skip ahead to this ability. Ricky phases out of the world for up to 3, 4, and 5 seconds, attacking every enemy from behind. So like Jug, kind of, because it attacks them all in an area around him from behind, and he attacks once when phasing out, and then once when he phases back in, and it lasts for 3, 4, or 5 seconds. So it makes him pretty much. He's Jug a little bit, I think, and then he attacks.
Anime tier shit, man.
Yeah, this really is. He's like seriously trying to become a ninja. Like, believe it, or some shit. Strength growth got reduced. His agility growth got reduced. His base armor got reduced. Jeez, these are huge hits, though. Smokescreen no longer slows turn rates. Damn. I think this is overall making the hero worse. I think he got a little... He was like, man, I'm going to give him a super impactful ulti, but I need to nerf him some way to compensate. But he got a little too crazy with these changes. Like, these are pretty huge.
That kind of hit my max smokescreen idea.
Yeah, for the turn rate shit. I don't know. These are... Yeah. He only does 2 attacks. What the fuck? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see if this actually ends up buffing Ricky. I think this might overall nerf him. And then I bet after 6.86 C or B, he'll buff him back up. Because he said that he wanted to remove these heroes from Captain's mode and then change them and see if they need buffs or nerfs afterwards. And I think Ricky might be one of the heroes that he buffs. We'll see. Because these... watch me be completely wrong about this, right? And like watch him be completely overpowered. I could be completely wrong about this, but it just feels like the hero's not as good as he used to be, honestly, because of all these hits. But Rubik Fade Bolt damage reduction is increased by 6. Yeah, 6, 5, 4, 3. That's nice, especially.
It's nice, but I don't think it's still enough for that ability.
It's probably not the change that he needed, but it's the change that he wants. That's for sure.
Maybe.
But Reworked Scepter on Sand King doubles Burrow Strike cast range and applies Caustic Finale poison to heroes, but it no longer grants... Okay, that's terrible. You're probably never going to get that. Although double Burrow Strike range, what is that? 1200? That means you don't need to get a blink. You don't need to get a... Yeah.
You still want to get a blink.
Yeah, you do. No, honestly, dude, fuck. Why did they change this about Sand King? Like...
You never got Scepter on him anyway. So
yeah.
Maybe they're trying to make it viable?
I think, honestly, you might, I mean, you will want a Blink Dagger, but you might not need it, like, necessarily. You'll channel this shit from within the trees. You'll Burrow Strike out or something like that. You'll get Caustic... I don't know, man. It looks good, but it's like... If a Scepter is so expensive, though. I don't know. His base
Caustic Finale, though, the increase in the slow, that might be what makes it better.
By 5%, though?
I don't know. It might be.
Undying Picker saying that double range is amazing. Don't get me wrong, guys. Double range is amazing. But if you're trying to channel your ulti and then Ags blink in, right? you're missing a few pulses and you're being a little hopeful because Blink provides what I don't know. You're still gonna want Blink on this hero, I think. Except we'll see. We'll see if this is huge. I don't know if it's gonna be as huge. This alters an alternative to Blink that adds stats but is double the cost. Okay, that's all you need to keep in mind. This is basically double the cost. You get some stats and you might get some benefit because Caustic Finale Poison is kind of nice. We'll see how this changes the hero. If you can farm that Ags up soon enough, then go for it. You might even build... Nah, never mind. Shadow Demon, Disruptions, Illusions, duration is increased. And that's it. I don't think that's what he needed, but whatever. That's a buff that he'll accept that buff, but that's not what he needed, I don't think. It's really nice, though, because Shadow Demon's Illusions, when used on enemies, can do a lot of damage. Or allies, too. They're nice illusions, but again, I don't think that's a buff he needed. Scepter for Shadow Fiend, Requiem of Souls waves now return back to Shadow Fiend, dealing 40% of the damage on the way back. All the damage the Requiem does, all of the damage the Requiem does to heroes on its way back heals you. Holy shit. Base armor reduced by 1. And then the mana recruit. That's crazy. We'll see how this... Is Scepter viable?
It might be another Alchemist, you know.
Yeah, it's probably just Alchemist. Shadow Shaman, Shackles, total damage is increased. That's very nice. That's very nice. At later ranks. And then Mass Serpent Wards require 2 hits to destroy instead of having base HP. That's nice, I think. Silencer replaced Curse of the Silent with a new ability, Arcane Curse. Holy shit. This is his E ability, by the... No, this is his Q. Who am I kidding? Arcane Curse. Targets an area, causes enemies to take damage over time. Anytime they cast a spell, the duration debuff is increased. If an enemy affected by this debuff is silenced, the debuff will pause. No damage and no time elapses. Whoa. It just does damage, though, right? It doesn't take mana, hopefully. Yeah, it's just damage. The damage is... Stacking duration is... Okay, it lasts 7 seconds. The stacking duration is 4 seconds anytime a spell is cast. The DPS is 1420. It's very counterintuitive to what it used to be. And then they buffed Glaives of Wisdom to no longer be a unique attack modifier. Thoughts on these changes, or moving on? I don't know if I care too much.
I do think the Glaives of Wisdom thing is really good for him.
Yeah, well, yeah, but... So you have no opinion on the Arcane Curse currently?
I would rather just see it first in action.
Yeah, that's
but I think Core Silencer may be coming back.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this impacts the hero in any way. One sec, I want to check if the hero's in Arc Warden. Zet? Nope. Do I need to... Maybe I need to restart my client. Skywrath Mage. Concussive Shot Mana. That's nice for him. A little bit. Slaughter, amp damage not only reveals the target, rather... Yep, that's what I was like, man, he needs the Bounty Hunter...
predicting that.
Needs that Bounty Hunter treatment, and that's what he got. Electric Vortex mana cost reduced, so they're trying to make Storm, you know... They're just trying to bring him back in. They're trying to, like, eliminate that greedy build bullshit and make it so that you gotta, you know... Put a point into this ability, I think, and fight, as opposed to just farm. I like that. I like that. Spend-based damage increased by 4. I thought I read strength there for a second. God Strength Scepter Aura is now a little bit crazier. Who cares?
He-Man is making the comeback.
He-Man's making a comeback. Not too much. I don't think the... We'll see. We'll see if that makes a comeback. Refraction is now always visible. That's a nerf, I think. That means that enemies can see it. Yeah, that's kind of... That sucks for her. A little bit. Enable Terrorblade into Captain Smoke. Guys, this is not the change that Terrorblade needed. They needed some kind of buff. I don't think the hero is good enough to be put in Captain Smoke, but I could be way off on that. Okay, if we see him get picked up in the next few days, then I could be way off. But I think he needs another change. I don't think Terrorblade's in a good spot right now. I think he still needs some more buffs. But maybe I'm just some fanboy who's bitching. Tidehunter, Gush, Scepter thing. I looked at this earlier, as you can see, because I had the button clicked. It's cool. It's a ground-targeted wave ability that travels for 1,800 range. It's very long range. It's got a small AoE, and it's pretty quick. It's 1,500 speed. The cooldown is 7 seconds. I can't remember how much normal Gush is. I think normal Gush is actually 7 seconds. So I think it's got the same cooldown. This is a nice change, but I still don't think you're going to get added. I definitely don't think you're going to get Scepter. You never used to, because it didn't buff you anyway. I don't think you're going to get Scepter just with this change alone. But Anchor Smash got a nice buff. It's a little bit easier to cast. And Ravage Stun rescaled to benefit it at later ranks. But then
That's still not enough.
Yeah, probably not. This is very small. 0.03 seconds, 0.08 seconds, and then they nerfed it at level 1. Nah, it's probably not enough. Timbersaw, Whirling Death, I believe, was his Q, and the debuff duration is increased for by 4 seconds. That's when he Qs a tree and a hero, it reduces their primary attribute by 15% or some shit like that for this time, and now this time is...
It was actually increased, not decreased.
It decreased. No, what? Why would it increase it? That's a bad thing. You don't want to increase the enemy's main stat. It's a decrease. I'll look it up right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the debuff duration increased from 7 to 11.
Yeah. They made it so it lasts longer. So especially on strength heroes, it makes them that much squishier. But
yeah.
It makes them do less damage too, because no matter what, your primary attribute is your damage source for right clicks.
I hope it's easy to tell that I don't play this hero.
Yeah, I don't I don't either. I'm just Whirling Death mana cost reduced. That's nice. It's never going to scale up, and then reactive armor duration rescaled to 14, 16, 18, and 20. That's kind of nice. We'll see if these changes are what he needs. I doubt it though. These are nice, but not enough. I don't think. I mean, look, like we're talking about Tinker now, and Tinker's a hero that's been getting buffs since he got nerfed back in 6.81, and all of his changes have been kind of like Timbersaw's change. So we'll see. Laser cast time improved. That's nice. And then the range got increased. So that's very nice. It's very nice on laser. Especially since people usually level that ability first anyways. They're making it even better. I like those changes. And then Teeny, or Tiny, if you guys don't watch Challenge Qual. Craggy Exterior now triggers on attacks landing rather than on start. I like that change. I don't think he needed like a nerf or anything. Yeah, I just think this is a nice change overall. Tree Protector, Leech Seed mana cost reduced. I talked about this too. I predicted this. I feel good. This is good because, especially at the earlier ranks, like even 20 mana at level 1 is very nice. Overgrowth got increased. I talked about that too. I thought it needed a little bit of a buff, but you don't just play this hero for his ulti. But especially look at that overgrowth damage and vision area of effect increased with the scepter a little bit too. Just to match what it's 800 basically AoE at all ranks. I like these changes a lot. I don't know if these are going to be the changes that Treant needed, but they're definitely welcome. I like these.
Yeah, that's fine.
Troll Warlord, Fervor got rescaled, but now you can have more Fervor stacks, so don't think that's that's technically kind of a nerf if you only get a few Fervor stacks, but generally speaking, this is a good thing. If you attack the target more than 4 times, this is a good thing. Hopefully Troll doesn't make a huge comeback, because fuck that hero, but some of these are good changes. Ranged Whirling Axe's cooldown reduced. Troll has mana problems, though. He's got like the worst agility or intelligence growth in the game, so we'll see if these changes are sufficient, or if this just opens up the fact that he has more mana problems. Maybe he needs to get like an Aquila. But overall, these are nice changes, and I know he can solo Roshan now even sooner. Like once you get that Morbid Mask, man, you can pretty much take Roshan if you have Fervor Max, I think. That's a lot of attack speed. Tusk, gutted, boys, gutted, right? No, I'm just kidding. His movement speed got reduced by 5, that's nice. And the Ice Shard's damage got reduced by 48 max rank. These are good changes, and they also made it so that you can't pull people from light years away, right? No, I'm just kidding. Only 50 radius reduced is not too much. Can't pull people out of black hole or chronosphere. It doesn't matter because we never saw Enigma or Void in the last patch. Maybe we'll see in this patch, right? Time dilation looks like a fun ability, but good changes overall. I think they nerfed Tusk where he needed it. I think his damage, that's good. Any thoughts, or are you just happy to see him?
I took the guess that they would just slightly reduce the damage on Ice Shard, so there's that.
Yep, that's good. I like to see those changes. Undying, Tombstone Zombie, damage reduced. The bounty on Tombstone is increased, but it no longer gives the XP. I don't think Undying needed... I could be way wrong. In the pub meta, I never saw Undyings anymore. I don't think these... I don't like these changes. They made it so it doesn't give you XP, and that's pretty much it, because outside of that, they just nerfed him overall. What do you think about these changes?
Yeah. It's like...
What?
I just don't really care for that.
You know, I don't care. Okay, yeah, Undying's kind of a cancerous hero too, so I don't know. I'm kind of sad about these changes. I kind of like Undying. I don't like to see it when he used to be one of my favorite heroes back in like 3 years ago. So when he first got added to Dota 2. Anyways, Ursa, Scepter added to Ursa, allows you to cast your ultimate when you're disabled, and it reduces the cooldown. This is what's it called? An alchemist change. That's all this is.
Yeah.
And you can't purge and rage. So that's nice. That's a buff to the ability. But overall, this is the only thing you should care about. Don't give a fuck about Scepter. You'll never get it. Even with this change. Venge. Now, this is weird as fuck. I think Venge used to get Scepter sometimes, so this is kind of nice. It's when you die and you have Scepter, it still gives the previous bonuses. Don't worry, right here. Note that it still grants the previous bonuses from Nether Swap. But when you die and you have Scepter, you spawn an illusion of yourself, and you still give the aura. Don't get me wrong, you still give that vengeance aura thing that you used to on like the Ebola shit. You still give that to your enemies. But now you also spawn an illusion that deals 50% of your damage and takes 150% of your damage. So it's a good illusion. That's a pretty solid illusion, right? That's not like Terrorblade or Naga Siren 400%. It's a pretty solid illusion. And it can use all of your abilities, but not your items. Okay, guys, so once you get Blink on this hero, I think you want to rush Axe pretty much 100% of the time. And I think actually... what?
Yeah.
That's...
No, she's pretty much a martyr that could still do shit after she dies.
Indeed.
If she gets Ag.
And exactly. She's a better martyr now. Let me check out her Q for a second, because I want to see what her Q does, or what her Q's cooldown is. Because if it's like 6 seconds... Yeah, it's like 10 seconds. Guys, get Ags on this hero. This is really, really good. Because even if you die, you're probably going to get at least 1 or 2 extra stuns in. I really like Vengeful Spirit now. This is such a nice change. Getting Ags is going to be a problem, though, because usually they're the bitch, you know, position 5. But nice change. I don't think we need to worry about carry Venge, though. I love the Vengeful Spirit Ags. Basically, you'll never die as long as your positioning is good. With Wraith King, you only delay the inevitable. The Vengeful Spirit is basically permanent. Yeah. This is a nice change. Venomancer, Venomous Gale cooldown reduced. This is not what he needed, but he'll take it. Although I heard Venomancer got picked... Huh?
There's that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It's like, here you go, buddy. Here's 4 seconds off of Gale. It's kind of nice. Visage Stoneform AoE increased by literally 10. That's nothing. That just... Basically, they could have changed nothing about Visage this patch, and... you wouldn't have noticed anything. Warlock got 4 extra strength. That's about 80 extra health. And Shadow Word duration got increased. And they didn't change anything else about the ability. So that's just extra healing. That's like 44 extra healing or damage. So that's nice. Nice changes to Warlock. I don't think this is what he needed yet, but this is still very nice. I might go back to playing Warlock since Oracle took a little bit of a hit. We'll see. As my supportive choice. We'll see if I still play Earth Spirit after this patch. And if I can't get off lane for some reason, we'll see if I keep going to Oracle. Weaver base damage increased by 3, kind of nice. And the Swarm Beetle at basic attack time improved pretty significantly. That means the damage over time that they're going to deal, they used to deal damage in these intervals, right? 1.4 seconds at rank 1, they'd attack them. Not many people know this about Weaver's Q. They just don't even know what the fuck it does. They just know that they put beetles on somebody. But let me explain the ability for you guys in case you don't know. Because I recently learned this. I think it was Burba that made... I watched Burba's replay, so shout out to Burba. I watched a replay by Burba Big Cat, and he was playing Weaver, and I found out what this ability did. Check this out, guys. When you throw beetles out on a target, it latches onto them, and then every once in a while they'll attack. By every once in a while, I mean every 1.4, every 1.25, every 1.1, and every 0.95 seconds they would attack. That's their basic attack time. They have no attack speed, they just have their basic attack time, and that's how often they attack. Okay? Every time they attack, they do... How much damage? It's 30, I think. Damage? They do 20 damage, which is kind of nice. And then they also chunk off your target's armor. And they do physical damage, so they benefit themselves too. Weaver's Beetles are very nice, okay? They do a lot of damage, and especially with this change. Increasing the intervals is really nice, especially at earlier ranks. This is a decent change, and the basic damage increase is really nice too. We'll see. This probably won't put him into Captain's Mode viability yet, but this will probably make him a little bit better in the off lane for harassing supports, because he was already pretty good at harassing supports when they're trying to harass him. Thoughts, or do you have any thoughts?
It's cool.
It's cool.
I like it.
Yeah. Windranger, Shackle Shot is now disjointable. That sucks for her. Holy shit, that's a huge change. The speed got increased on it, though. The angle reduced. Okay, good. So you're not going to see as many insane shackles. Power Shot speed no longer decreases by a smaller amount as it goes through units. I didn't even know the Power Shot got slower as it went through units. That's weird. That's very weird. But... So yeah, Shackle Shot, I was going to say, if you're going to make it disjointable, you better make that ability better in some way, otherwise rip that hero. Winter Wyvern, temporarily removed from Captain's Mode. Cold Embrace cooldown got increased. Arctic Burn slow got reduced. Winner's Curse primary and secondary targets are now immune to all damage from their enemies. What? What? So the only people that can damage people during Winner's Curse are the people in Winner's Curse. Does that make sense? That's what that means. So if she casts Winter Curse, don't even imagine it's Naga Siren, because you cannot damage those targets. Winter's Curse secondary units now have their attack speed, have 50 attack. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. I was gonna say they're really ripping this hero. I hope they do something. So now, when Winter Wyvern casts Winter's Curse, don't do shit. Just let the Winter's Curse do its thing, okay? Because they made Winter's Curse a stronger damaging ability for allies to the enemies. The AoE got increased. That's also nice. The cooldown got increased. The duration got increased. Very nice. I always thought this ability lasted just a little bit too short at earlier ranks. And then they fixed the lingering if the primary target died. I like that too. So now if the primary target dies, everybody gets undone. Winter fucking gutted still? I don't know. She's probably...
I think the whole immune to all damage from their enemies thing is a little silly.
Little silly? It just basically means that if she casts her ability, you should not try to go for a wombo combo until after the ability ends. That's what this change means.
Yeah, but as a single target, it's pretty much Garbo now.
But it makes it... Well, no, because... Well, yeah. Okay, so that's true. But usually, that's what they're trying to make the ability into, I think. They're trying to make it so that, like, hey, like, don't use this ability unless other people are around. Because they get... the people that are smacking the target that they're targeting, I guess, the Winner's Curse target is going to take 50%, or 50 is going to take more damage from their allies than it used to, because they're going to have 50 attack speed extra when they're smacking their ally there. I like that change a lot. I figured something like that would need to happen. I don't know. Witch Doctor Maledict mana cost reduced from 120 to scaling up to 120. That's kind of nice, a little bit. And then they increased the cast range by a little bit, so that's kind of nice. And Wraith King, and after this change, we're getting on to items. Wraith King, Vampiric Aura can now be toggled to make the lifesteal only for heroes. That's great. I like that change, but it's not enough. It's probably not enough. But that's a great change. I like playing Wraith King sometimes. Going Blade Mail Radiance, this will be even nicer. Any thoughts on those changes, or what? Done? Done. Okay, items. Fairy Fire. This is a lane item, I've decided. It's 75 gold. It gives you +2 damage. So it doesn't give you any stats, but it gives you, like, you know, 2 branches worth of damage, but no stats. And it costs a branch and a half, so whatever. It gives you, on pop, like when you pop this, it just gives you 75 HP, which is pretty nice. And it's got a cooldown too, so you can't spam it on yourself to get all the sudden HP. I don't see this item being powerful enough as itself, but I could be wrong about that. Who do I see picking this up? It sounds like since you are the only person that can consume this item, I don't know if this is shareable. It's probably not. Maybe it is. If it's shareable, then this is an insane mid lane item that you're going to get pooled by your supports. You're going to be like, oh, a Chen support? Great, because that means he can give me all the fairy fighters in the world, since he doesn't need shit when he starts the game other than courier and wards. Right? But I don't think you can share this. I think this is just an item that only you can get. And if that's the case, then this might not be strong enough as it is. I don't know. 75 gold is a nice, appealing price tag for +2 damage. And when you pop it, you gain health suddenly, so hopefully you don't feed as much early game. But we'll see how Fairy Fire... It looks like a pretty awesome item, but we'll see how it really holds up. That Dragon Lance, I want to get to this ability, or this item. It is a very cheap way, and I mean very cheap way. It's 1,875 gold that gives pretty fucking cost-efficient stats. It's a very cheap way, though, to artificially alter your hero, right? Remember Moon Shard, which increased your range, your vision range at night? This item makes it so you just have more attack range as a ranged hero. This is a very awesome item. I think it's a little bit overpowered right now. It gives like 1875, right? For 1875, you can afford an Oblivion Staff. This item gives you the same stats as the Oblivion Staff, except instead of intelligence, you're getting strength, which is really nice. You love strength. Strength is really good. And then it gives you attack range. Holy shit. Enchantress is going to get this item. I wish it built into something else. Does Dragon... No, Dragonlance doesn't build into anything else. But this is an insanely cool ability, or insanely cool item. Very, very nice. I love this item. We'll see if this is a game changer or not. What?
There can be disassembled part isn't really important, actually.
Isn't really? I think it actually is kind of important.
Because then you could disassemble it to make like a BKB afterwards when
Yep.
you're done with it, as
Yep.
well as something like a butterfly.
Exactly. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. Quarterstaff and Ogre Club have some pretty cool build-ups. Drow might like this item. I don't know which... Yeah. Very good point. Very good point. Can be disassembled. I love this item. Aether Lens. All you fucking... all you League of Legends players that are like, Dota players, Dota heroes can't scale. Hey, take that, okay? This item is stackable, to my knowledge, and more importantly, gives you spell damage. So now you guys can go your spellcaster builds. I wonder if this affects, like... There's a lot of hero abilities that I'm wondering whether or not this affects. Cast range improvement. Wait, this gives cast range improvement?
Based on the price, I'm assuming this could be another decent support item.
Yeah. Cast range improvement affects targeted spells, and it says it... Oh, it increases your cast range. Holy shit, by 200. This is an insane item as well. It's only 2,300 gold. Really cool item. Does not affect AoE abilities like Poison Nova. But it does affect abilities like Venom Skill. Very, very cool ability. No, it only increases your cast range, not the actual range of the ability, I believe. But I don't know if I understand that well. I think I do. Your cast range is what's most important. So you can... Venomancer, he poops the Gale out from his melee form, right? When you get this item, you can poop it out from like a distance. So it doesn't actually increase the range of the ability. It like artificially does. It just makes... If this is... Let me get a MS Paint. Okay. If this is your hero, and he's casting an ability right here, okay, then what this item does is make it so that your hero can cast the same range of the ability only to here. Does that make sense? Can I cut? It's supposed to be the same. It's supposed to be the same range. So how do I copy? Select. Copy. Paste. He can cast it. Yeah, like that's. This is what the item does. It does not make your abilities go further. It just makes your range increase. That's what this ability does. That's what this item does. Please keep that in mind, guys. Okay, because you guys might get confused and fuck me over and say, oh, Wired, you said this item was great. It is great, but it's great for a different reason than you may think. Iron Talon. This is the jungle item that everybody's been asking for, okay? It builds out of a Quelling Blade and a Ring of Protection, and it gives you those stats. It gives you +2 armor. Wait. This gives you less armor. This gives you less armor than a Ring of Protection? What the fuck? That's really weird. This gives you less armor than the item that it builds up from. Very weird that it gives you less armor than the item that it builds up from. Wait, does it? What's a Ring of Protection? I think I know what a Ring of Protection is, but let me just confirm this, because this is the first time I've ever seen this in Dota 2. Yeah, what the fuck? Did they fuck up? It gives +3 armor, right? Click. Come on, Dota 2 Wiki. Quit. It's getting updated, and yeah, this gives +3 armor, and this item gives +2 armor. So I don't know if they done goofed or if the item would be too overpowered, they thought. But this lets you target a non-player enemy unit, so a neutral or a creep, and just remove 40% of its HP. This is not just a jungle item. Do not confuse this item for just a jungling item. This is a great item for heroes that want to get extra farm in the lane, right? Because it wait, never mind. It's 40% of your current HP. I was going to say, this is just like from Han, the Hatchet. Because Hatchet in Han is an item that you can throw out every like 30 seconds, and it just snags last hits for you if you time it right. I thought that's what this was, but it's current HP, so you can never kill something with this. So this is basically just going to be a jungle item. You can't use it on Ancients, which is good, because holy shit, that'd be straight crazy if you could farm Ancients with this item, especially at level 1. The early game junglers would come back. Early game Ancient farmers like Medusa would. But it is very, very good all the same for jungling. Cannot target Ancients. Has normal 4-second cooldown when used on trees. Good item, guys. Good item. This is a good ability. Yeah, it's like Smite, kind of. Item changes to Abyssal Blade. The bash is better, but the damage bonus got decreased. So, I hope you guys bash. That's what this means. I don't know why they're making changes like this to favor the RNG element of the item. But I guess they're trying to make it more iconic. Like, hey, you got Abyssal Blade. Go bash somebody. And then you bash somebody like, hey, I got a bash. I rolled high. Courier. I like this change because fuck my teammates so much fuck my teammates. And then the courier cost. This means that if you want to feed couriers, you better be planning that shit from the start, buying couriers every 2 minutes, right? You fuck you guys. And then they remove. I love this change. Courier. They keep making it cost less and less. I want the courier to cost something. I do not want the courier to be something that you just get for free. I think it should be something that somebody has to buy at the start of the game. I like that you have to establish roles and invest in the item. But I don't want it to cost too much, and I like that they've basically reduced its cost by 50 cents. Or no, it used to cost 200, right? Didn't the courier used to cost 200?
I can't remember. It was like 150.
I'm not really asking for your opinions too much. I'm sorry, Arlink. Do you have any opinions on what we've talked about over? Or are you just okay?
For the most part, on terms of the items, the only two that caught my eye was the Fairy Fire and Ether Lens.
Thoughts on this?
Support player.
Thoughts on this?
It's mostly just as a support player, the cast range will help a lot.
Cast range will help a lot, yeah. And then what you said the Fairy Fire too. Why the Fairy Fire?
Harass damage.
Harass damage. Give me 1 second.
It's not much damage, but it's still something.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like it used to cost 150, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it ever used to cost... Okay, back in 6.74 it used to cost 170. I thought it used to cost 200. Reduced cost. Okay, way back, before Dota 2 was even a thing, this item used to cost 225. Maybe did it ever used to cost 300? Okay. Used to cost 225 in the way old days. But since you guys have likely been playing Dota, the courier has pretty much costed 150 gold. Then it got nerfed to 120. Then it got nerfed or buffed to 100. And that's really good. We like to see these changes, okay? We want our support players to have an easier time, and this is going to help them out. You're welcome, Arlink. We worked really hard to do it. Yay. Arcane boots. This is a part of a movement speed of a boots change in general, but they did this way back, like 2 or 3 years ago, where they made boots of speed cost less but give less movement speed, and it looks like they're doing it again, which makes haste runes, Lycan, Darkseer, Wind Ranger, heroes that can hit max movement speed. This makes those kinds of heroes better because everybody is moving slower. So getting more movement speed through extraneous things outside of boots is going to be better. And you can't do it through Yasha because Yasha got nerfed. Although you can still do it through Yasha. We'll talk about Yasha in a second. But we'll skip ahead of the arcane boots change to this change because we want to talk about this. The cost got reduced again. It used to cost 500, now it costs 400, but it gives 10 overall less movement speed from when they reduced the cost. Does anybody remember that, or am I the only person that remembers that boots of speed used to cost 500? Okay, it used to cost 500, then they nerfed it to 450. They buffed everybody's movement speed, by the way, when they did that. I don't think they did that this time, though, so they just made everybody's now slower, basically, when you get boots of speed. This kind of means that you probably shouldn't start the item, even though it costs 100 or 50 less, because your movement speed is going to be that much less significant, I think. I think this is overall, you shouldn't be starting this item still, unless you're in the off lane. You really just need like 30 or 40 movement speed. We'll see. See how this affects it. Overall, this is still a buff to support players, because you can afford your items quicker. Assault Cuirass. The attack speed aura now bonus now affects buildings, so it makes it so that the armor portion already made your building stronger. Now your buildings attack quicker too, and that's pretty nice. That affects your towers. That affects your towers again. It's pretty much just your towers, but that's really nice. It means that this item is. It's not just a rat item. Okay, this is also a good turtling item. Blade mail cooldown got reduced. That's nice. Bottle. They reduced the cost by 40 gold, which is cool. You can, I don't know, almost start this item on, again, back like in the old days. They keep changing. Every patch is a new bottle. Main thing to note about these bottle changes, not so much the cost, although it does make it so that it's easier to get a bottle at the start of the game as our spirit. Main thing to note, health and mana per charge got reduced, okay? Pretty significantly, especially on the health. Okay, that sucks. You're getting 20 less health per charge. That's 60 less health when you fill up when you use your bottle totally. This really does hurt bottle users, especially in the off lane. And the mana per charge, that also sucks. They heal quicker, which is good. It heals by 0.5 seconds quicker, so you're gonna get that heal quicker when you're trying to in combat. You're trying to heal up with it, but overall it's less health. You're getting 90 and 60 instead of 110, 70. And they made that a similar change last patch when they made it go from 130 to 110. But now overall it went from 130 to 90. That's 40 health per charge over 2 patches. That sucks. Or maybe 3 patches. Was it 3 or 2? I think it was 2. They made it so you can buy it in the side shop, and it gets 1 charge when you buy it in the side shop. I thought that was very interesting and probably good at the start, but then I came to the correlation. I was like, well, let's think about it, right? If you're in the off lane and you're considering getting and I guess I should preface this by saying, for support players, For tri-lanes that are getting bottled and shit like that, that's cool. This is a good change, maybe. But when you're an offlaner like Earth Spirit, you're never going to get to the side shop because you're going to pull a creep and stay in that little area right outside of your tower for like the rest of the game, okay? You are always going to get harassed by enemy supports and if you try to go to the side shop, unless you kill them or they leave to go stack a camp or something like that. You will very rarely be able to have access to the side shop as Earth Spirit offlane. So do not look at this for face value and say, Wired, you can now get it from the side shop, and it costs 40 less gold, and it gives you 1 charge, or some shit like that. Like, no, I'll probably still get it from the base, so I can get it with 3 charges, and I'll probably still cry over these changes, because that technically nerfed the bottle. So, they did give new runes, though. New runes are nice. Butterfly. Flutter movement speed increased, and the duration got reduced, so that's nice. Nice little changes to the active there. Not a lot of people know that Butterfly has an active ability too. Clarity. Mana regen increased from 170 over 45 to 190 over 50. Same mana regen per second, so just a straight buff to Clarities. You're getting more mana out of them. You still get the same mana over time, so it's in no way is this a nerf basically. I'd like to see that. I still do get Clarity. I might actually get Clarities now on Earth Spirit. We'll see. This is a nice change if you can keep the mana going, which you can. Cloak, they reduce the magic resistance. I always thought that for 550 mana getting, or 550 mana, or what, 4? No, it was 500. I always thought the Cloak was a little bit too cost efficient, so this is nice. A little bit. But hopefully they didn't, I don't think they nerfed Pipe, so I think Pipe is left the same. Crimson Guard, the trance from 75% to block 40 if you're melee and 20 if you're ranged has been increased to 100, but then reduced in its, block. So consistency changed, and then the cooldown got reduced. So overall, I think this is a buff to the item. Makes it more consistent, makes the cooldown a little bit less. Probably overall a buff, unless you were super lucky before. Daedalus critical strike from 25% for 2.4 times to 30% for 2.2 times. This I consider this a buff to Ember Spirit, and just in general, yeah, average damage increased by 1%. It's a very small change. I consider this a buff to the item. I'd consider this overall a buff. I get Clarity when I'm ES. I'm at ES as an Earth Spirit, sorry, not Earthshaker. Access, Kiss and Makeup, Kappa. Diffusal Blade. The agility bonus has been increased by 5 at the first rank of the item, and the intelligence bonus has been increased by 4. That's nice. That's very good. The first rank of the item is a little bit better now. This is very good. It makes me not want to straight one-shot upgrade the item for the plus 15 agility. Now it's only plus 10 agility. And, you know, you want to preserve your charges, so nice change. The endurance bonus movement speed increased from 10 to 13. Endurance is the active ability on the item, guys. So a little bit more movement speed when you use this item, but it's only when you actually use the item as opposed to just keeping it passive. Ethereal Blade, I like this. Reducing the mana cost makes it so combos with the item are a little bit more manageable. Flying Courier got its cost reduced as well. You're welcome, R-Link Kappa. They're still nerfing, still nerfing Glimmer Cape. The base magic resistance reduced by 5%. I think that's in accordance with the cloak change a little bit. Hard to ask. The out of combat HP increase. HP regeneration has been increased by 0.75. Very nice. Kind of nice. This doesn't really... You're probably still going to have a hard time getting... I think Heart needs a little bit of a buff, but I don't know. It's kind of an endgamey death item. Like, once you get Heart on, like, AM, you know, you're probably not going to lose that game. Hopefully, at least. Help the Dominator. Dominate now sets the Dominated creep's base movement speed to 350. This is nice. This is very nice for stacking Ancients, because... Stacking Ancients used to be kind of weird if you get a certain creep, if you just like grab a creep and it just happens to be kind of like the Elder Trolls, like it's just kind of weird. So this is nice for consistency's sake, and it kind of buffs the item overall in general. I like this. Hooded Defiance now has an active ability. Creates a spell shield on your hero that absorbs... Ooh, it's a very nice active, but it costs mana and that sucks. This is still very nice. I like this a lot. Very good change to Hooded Defiance. Very good change to Hooded Defiance. Because there's been some games where I'm like, man, I just can't get a pipe this game, but I can sit on a hood all day. Because a hood is like, I think almost half the cost as a pipe. I'm very happy to see Hood get buffed. Love the Helm of the Dominator item. The active is basically a cheap Lotus Orb. You mean Hood? Or you're talking Helm of the Dominator? Iron Branch. You can plant a tree in the ground. All right, and I already kind of talked about this. You can plant a tree in the ground, and it interacts with tangos, which we'll get into in a second. But you can plant a tree in the ground, which you can use. So if you're timber saw, always... I'm dead fucking serious here, guys. When you're playing timber saw, iron branches are your shit. This is a straight buff to timber saw, because I think happy little trees are basically trees, so they interact just the same way. This could be huge, but I don't think this is going to be too huge. We'll move on and go to the tangos. Javelin, pierced chance, the pierced chance got increased. Yes. But then the damage on the item, okay. Damage on this item was decreased. We'll see if it talks about... Yes. Okay. So they changed Javelin, Monkey King Bar, and Skull Basher as well because they all built up from Javelin. Okay, anyways. And then we already went over Abyssal Blade. This change makes the item more RNG based, which I dislike, but it's really nice if you can get that pierce off. Lincoln Sphere. They buffed Lincoln Sphere a little bit. Damage, I recommend it more on Ember Spirit now than I do Manta. The cooldown is very nice. You can probably get this off twice in a fight if they point and click. If they have a lot of point and clicks, the damage increase is really nice. Mantle of Intelligence reduced from the removed from the side shot. That kind of sucks. Can't really think of how many items are built from this, but that kind of sucks. I wonder why they made that change. Mantle of Intelligence removed from the side shop. I don't know though. MKB, the mini bash. If you are attacking really quickly, this item is probably going to be the same, if not more DPS. And this also gives a little bit of attack speed, important to know. So do not think that this rips the item by any stretch of the... God, we're 2 hours and 60 minutes. This does not rip the item by any means, okay? If you can bash on this item, it's huge. But if you can't, you're going to be getting less damage. So attack speed, very key when you get an MKB. Necro, recipe cost reduced, I like that. And the Archer got an increase in attack range, which I also like at earlier ranks. Very good changes. Very good stuff. Observer and Sentries now have an AoE indicator. I might have to make my own separate non-quick cast hotkey key for Observer and Sentry wards just because of this change. Because this is a very nice change. And I wanted them to make this change for a while. Observer wards now give more EXP, which is very nice to see. I like to see that. Thank you so much. And I looked at this earlier and I was very happy. You might get Octarine Core under Spirit now. I don't know, man. Getting those stones up is really, really key. And having a reduced cooldown on all of your other abilities, this is now officially a viable item under Spirit, I think. I'll say that. Other heroes that this affects. All the spirits, really, except for Storm. Although it's yeah. It's good on Ember Spirit. I mean, it's not really too good on Ember Spirit, but you get quicker remnants out. This is just a nice change to see. I wanted them to make this change for a while. Orb of Venom is no longer a unique attack modifier, so that's cool. Get Orb early, and you can still get your Lifesteal later on, and Lifesteal with it. Phase Boots. You could beforehand.
Good old Silencer.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Get Orb on Silencer. Mm-hmm.
On Silencer? Well, yeah, you can doubly do that now, because this isn't a UAM, plus Silencer's Glaives isn't a UAM. But yeah, that's a good point. You can get it on ranged heroes now, and not have to worry. That's cool. That is cool. That's cool. Phase Boots. The active no longer cancels when casting. That's nice, because like Wind Ranger and other heroes used to have a problem with that. The movement speed was reduced by 5, but the total cost... Okay, because the boots... Okay, these are just the boots. Okay, whatever. This is a nice change. I like to see this. Quelling Blade, cost reduced. That's very nice. Cost got... Okay, I understand it. So they nerfed Ring of Protection back to what it used to be. What the fuck? It used to be 175 gives 2 armor. Then they buffed it. The most cost-efficient armor buff in the game. And then they nerfed it again. Fuck, that sucks. Ring of Protection's the worst item. Rip. Rip, 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 rip. I'm very sad about that. Rod of Atos. Cripple cooldown increased by 2 seconds. What? Now grants that unit... Okay, never mind. This item's really good now. Okay, now grants units that attack the target 40% accuracy. That means that units that are attacking the target will not miss 40% of the time. Which means... Is it a really good item against PA? Okay, this is and I heard rumors of them trying to make that Atos buff disgusting. This is a pretty insane buff. How long does Atos last? I think like 4 to 5 seconds.
I will now always buy Atos on every hero I play.
It's
support faggot.
Are you trolling or?
Nah.
This is a very.
Not every hero.
This is a good buff. This is a very good buff. This counters a lot of the bullshit without needing. Yeah. Okay. So it's 4 seconds, but this is a good. This is a good buff. This is. Keep this. I might even get this on Earth Spirit. I would probably get this item on Earth Spirit now because it just makes it so that you don't need to worry about when people get casual evasion. Okay, you have means of countering it too. It's making the game more RNG based, but whatever. Sange, Maim no longer pierces spell immunity. Rip. Greater Maim no longer pierces spell immunity. Rip. Satanic duration increased by 0.5 seconds. Hex got a buffed. The cooldown is nice. A little bit. Not too much of a buff. Not something you need to worry about. Silver Edge debuff is no longer dispellable. That's whatever. Slark, you can go fuck yourself. Skull Basher, the strength bonus has been increased, and the bash damage has been increased, literally doubled, but the damage on the item has been reduced. Makes the item more thematic, but more RNG based. Fuck. Smoke, I like that change. Now here we go. Tangos, let's talk about this. Okay? Boosted Tangos now do not give double the healing, but instead double the duration. But you can use them on Ironwood branches. On the trees that you make from an iron branch. Starting Tango branch is cool now, because for 175 gold you're getting like 500 healing. That's insane value between all of your charges. You're getting 1 super heal and then 3 cool heals. That's like, consider this a very good change for the branch. It's 2 item slots, but that's a lot of healing that you're getting just for 1 Tango on 1 branch. For Tango 2 branch is insane healing. Did they buff healing salves in any way? Healing salve? No. So basically healing salves are just really good for that burst healing now, because now it's all about Tangos. Boys, this is the patch where starting branches and Tangos is great again. Okay? Tango 2 branch is insane healing. You're giving up your stats, but you're giving up your +1 to all stats, but you're gaining so much healing from it. Trinkle Boots, the armor got reduced because of the Ring of Protection, so the item got cheaper to buy. This item got really cheap to buy. The Trinkle Boots is dirt fucking cheap now, but rip those stats. Vanguard, chance has been increased, but then, just like the Crimson Guard change, consistency purposes, I'm kind of weirded out by this patch because they wanted to increase consistency in some areas, but then decrease it in some other areas, kind of weird. They made more items that were crit based, like bash based, thematic. Like, hey, if you bash on this item, you should feel really good. But if you don't rip, they made that like more apparent. And then they made an item like this less crit reliant, which is weird. But whatever. Veil of Discord, I like this change. It gives you 12 intelligence. This is very good on Earth Spirit as well. So I dare say that even though Earth Spirit got nerfed this patch, the items that he got more than make up for it in some ways. And there are some new item choices. I am very sad about the Earth Spirit nerfs, but I like these changes. I'm going to say that. I like these changes to Veil of Discord specifically. This is officially a good item, guys. Ever since release, this Veil of Vanguard Sniper, Return of Vanguard Sniper, or Viper, we'll see all that shit. I'm just saying this is a very nice change to Veil. I like to see this item not have a recipe. And you can build this entire item from the side shop, right? Veil of Discord. I'm trying to think of what builds it up. It's a Null Talisman, I think. So no, you can't, because the Null Talisman you need to get from... You can almost build this item from the side shop, though. Helm of Iron Will, 2 Robe of Magi's are in the side shop. Yeah, the Null Talisman... This is nice. Nice changes. Very nice changes. Vitality Booster added to the side shop. Ultimate Orb removed from the side shop. I don't like to see this, but whatever. Yasha, like I said earlier, the movement speed got nerfed a little bit, but then Sange and Yasha still has the same movement speed. Additional changes, this is all shit we don't care about, I don't think. Yep. Alright. So anyways, this patch preview has gone on for 2 hours and 24 seconds. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of it. I talked about it as much as I possibly could. We had some bros on, they talked about it. Good stuff overall, I think we talked about enough. I'm going to make more videos regarding the map changes and my opinions on it. If you guys want opinions from a former 4.7k player who spammed Earth Spirit, who might now drop to fucking 2k because I can't spam Earth Spirit as much anymore, keep watching my videos. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.
Later, Dave.